It being 5 o'clock, the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of June 27, 2017 is hereby called to order. Can we get a roll call, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones? Ms. Sposito, she's here. She must have just stepped out of the...
She did.
Stepped out of the room. Mr. Groh is out of town on business. Mr. Melvin? Here. Mr. Bourgeois?
Here.
Mr. Perilou?
Here.
Mr. Otan? Here. Mr. Lafont?
Here.
Mr. Lorraine?
Here.
And Mr. Cantrell?
All right, if everyone please rises, the invocation will be led by Mr. Jones, followed by the pledge by Mrs. Sposito. Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was looking, I was like, wait a minute.
The gentleman from the Heroes Monument mentioned earlier that if there's 3 flags, the American flag goes in the middle. So that's why it's moved. Kind of threw us all off. All right, Section A, approval of meetings. Number 1, motion to accept the minutes of the June 13, 2017 regular session. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Ms. Sposito. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1.
Mr. Chairman, the record showed Ms. Sposito entered at 5:04.
Record shows Mrs. Sposito entered at 5:04. Section B, presentations and or updates. Being none, Section C, engineers, architects reports. That's kind of vague on B. I mean,
That's usually for, like the hospital, or when he does
Okay.
the employee, the mother and wives. Not on, Mr. Jack. The white button.
Check. Good evening, Jack Plaisance with Piciola and Associates. Do we have I do have a slide presentation. I'm not sure if it's going to come up. I'll go ahead and talk a little. Oh, here we go. So Jack Plaisance with PCO and Associates. These are some recent photographs at the West 11th Street Drainage Project. As you can guess, we did have a considerable amount of rain in the last month. Good for grass, not so good to do maintenance on that grass. But basically, the project is 99% complete. The contractor has a couple of things to come in and touch up. We had a few areas of some erosion, not a big deal, but he should be completed by the time we next report. Coastal Pump Station in Lockport, sheet piling driving began late last week. These are from yesterday. So what you're looking at here is, if I can get this pointer to work, maybe not. These are some flat sheet pile for the pump support system going up yesterday, and the contract is on schedule, and things are looking fine at this point. Moving on, Leeville boat launch. These are some current pictures of the aluminum fishing pier, which is complete. On the lower left, you can see the pier, of course, and on the lower right, is beginning work for the pavilion. So that's just getting started, but it's not a long duration item. And again, things are going well on this project. And that would have been my last slide. Any questions?
Mr. Lafont?
Hey, Jack, I think that project turned out better than what the residents actually expected on West 11th. I think the drainage has really improved in that area. Don't you agree?
I do agree.
But can y'all go back to this first slide? I got a question. The second, that one. Jack, on that bottom right-hand corner picture, subsurface drainage along, you see that pile of stuff on the right-hand side?
Yes.
Is that part of the project, or it looks like some hay rolls or some kind of thing to stop erosion? Is that part of the project? Is that, y'all putting that somewhere? Is it?
This is a temporary measure the contractor brought in sometime maybe a week ago. Like I said, we've had considerable rain and there are some erosion things going on. So the contractor needs to complete a well-graded, well-shaped site. So he intends on utilizing that material to minimize the erosion. He's basically going to lay it along the edge of the road to try to keep heavy runoff from eroding the site until the grass gets a little more situated and the dirt a little more compacted. He's got some areas to work on, but it's temporary. That's not going to stay.
No, the only reason I'm asking is because I pass there every day, and with the amount of thefts that have been going on in that area, that I won't be surprised if that don't end up in somebody's truck and not on that project. So you might want to let him know that.
Sure, we'll do that.
Mr. Melvin?
Hey, Jack, again, I know we've, just curious, again, in regard to the Dugas project being modified with no pumps, which is a lot of reason, there was a lot going on with that project and as to why we needed permits from the Corps, whereas it's been, you know, relatively focused on one area, no pumps, whatever's gonna be done is gonna be done, no big levees, no big digs, just a cement ditch among some fixer-uppers, but I'm trying to figure out, you know, why we need a new permit for this, and I'm trying to get an answer, and you know.
As you know, there were some changes that began in early 2016. Those changes were significant enough to require us to reapply, or should I say the parish to reapply for the coastal use permit. That was applied for early in May. Because of the changes in the project, you have to reapply. So it is in progress, it is submitted. I did look online today, and DNR is in receipt of it. They made a few comments, and the status is in process with DNR.
Okay, because I'm gonna still request a copy of the permit and see what y'all are permitting and what changed, so just letting you know.
Will do, sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Jack, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
So y'all doing the Dugas, anything for the Dugas Canal or that area, y'all handling all that? I think we have something on the agenda later on. I don't know if you're gonna stick around for it, or if we
I can talk about that. In fact, I think I should.
We can move it up on the agenda and once the meeting starts, if you wanna do that, I have no problem. I'm sure some people have questions on that.
I did not grab the paper that I would need to talk about that. Can I be back in 2 seconds?
Yes. You know what, we're gonna go on, Mr. Chairman, and we can always just defer up from the meeting.
You can make a motion if you want later.
Yeah, well, let's get this first start out. Okay. So go get that and we'll discuss it after.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other engineer reports?
Good afternoon. Michael Abear. I'm taking Sandy's place today. I think we have a slide. All right. First, the Parlor Rose Pump Station.
For the record, I think he needs to state name and address.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
Michael Abear. Work address? I don't know the work address. 280 East 57th Street, Cutoff, Louisiana, 70345. All right. Can't figure out how to turn it on. Got it? All right, Parlor Rose Pump Station. What am I doing? That's some recent photographs.
Can't see it.
Construction is,
Y'all do know there's an LSU game at 7 o'clock, right? You wouldn't know because Tulane's not playing this weekend.
all right. Construction is ongoing and on schedule. The sheet pile wall and trash screens are complete. The pumps have been delivered to the site and the roof canopy is being installed. Highway 308 road and drainage improvements. Huey Stockstill was awarded the project with a low bid of $594,646. A pre-construction meeting is scheduled for next Thursday. Once that is done, we can issue the notice to proceed to the contractor. Industrial flood wall and drainage. Plans for Phase 2 have been submitted to administration for approval. Once approved, plans and specifications can be finalized. We are also beginning the design phase of Phase 3 of the project, which includes further drainage improvements. I won't be able to really answer any questions, but if y'all do have any, feel free to call or email.
Mr. Orm?
Yeah, Michael, so I've never met you, but I'm not going to go without saying anything since I've said something every single meeting for a year now, waiting on that Phase 2. And it's been very, very disappointing. I get more calls. I'm not aware of houses or businesses that have flooded in this area like I've had in other areas, but this area, 10:30 last night, I got a text message from somebody. I mean, I get beat up so bad because of the way this thing was designed. Basically, the floor wall was put up, a levee was put up before the drainage and pump stations were improved, so everything was done backwards on this project. So for a year, I've been asking and asking and asking for this Phase 2. So beginning of this month, sent another email out saying they responded, saying next week, June 12th, we'll have the plans to the administration. So this morning, hey, anybody seen those plans? We have not. So Sandy sent them today. So we have them. I'm glad you mentioned that. Phase 2 plans are finally to the administration for them to review. Been asking about Phase 3, which is the drainage part of this. So I'm glad you mentioned it, that y'all gonna start looking at it. So y'all are acknowledging the request of the people. But I can't express enough how this has taken way too long. These people are suffering because of Phase 1, and Phase 2 and 3 has been just been drug out. We keep getting told from a year ago, oh, we'll have it at the next meeting, we'll have it at the next meeting, So I'm just expressing my frustration for my constituents that this has taken way too long, that somebody needs to get the fire lit and get this thing rolling, because the way this thing was engineered, it was done backwards, and it's time to play catch up. So I'd appreciate if you take that back and let everyone know our frustrations, and next meeting I'll be bringing it up again, the next meeting, just like I've done for the last year. So I thank you for being here and representing y'all, though. At least we have somebody here, so I thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right.
Mr. LaFont?
I just want to reiterate what Mr. Otan said, because just as many calls he gets, I get the same calls. And I agree that project, I think the drainage should have been done first before we built the seawall. And then maybe if we'd have did the drainage, I might have said it vice versa, because then we might have high water from the intercoastal. But, man, we need to get something done in that drainage, because it's getting worse and worse for those poor people.
I'll pass it on.
All right, yeah, thank you for being here. Thanks.
Heather Klingman, Duplantis Design Group, 314 East Bayou Road. Hopefully this works for me. And it's not. I swear. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or... Is it on? On. All right, there we go. Okay, first project is Lafourche Parish Community Center. We're currently working on the plans right now. Our dates for plan submittals, July 7th is going to be our 60% construction documents that that's kind of our internal date. Shortly after that, we'll submit them to the parish. Then just kind of looking forward after that, 100% construction drawings are due in end of July and then early August. It lags about a month behind the 60% construction documents, but we're working on that design, architectural and civil-wise. Layton Pump Station Improvement Project. This is, again, an HMGP project. We are working on 60% plans right now, which are due to the parish on June 30th, the end of this week. We've also been coordinating with DPW, just making sure that, if there's anything we can address in this project that we can, to make sure that we get as much bang for our buck from the HMGP money that we can. Again, just looking forward, 100% plans are going to be submitted on August 31st. And we are getting actually this week, we're getting some RFIs back from FEMA. So that tells me that they are looking at it now. So next project is a parish-wide pump station, and then Timberland together, also HMGP projects. I was hoping that we would have the core permit for Timberland this month, but they actually today just sent an email looking for some additional information that they want for the permit. So we don't quite have that yet. Just waiting. Once that gets completed, then we can get the plans finalized and get it out to bid. Galliano Bridge repair. Good news is that all the concrete is poured. Bad news is that it's not open yet. But just to kind of let you know where they are today, again, all the concrete has been poured. They've got all of the guardrails fabricated. They're sending them to the galvanizer, I think, tomorrow, and that should be back early next week. They can set the guardrails, and then they're going to do the striping. So based on their schedule that they gave to us, it's looking like middle of July is when everything is going to be complete. They haven't exactly held up to the dates that they've submitted to us so far, but most of the weather, let's say weather-dependent work, pouring concrete and that kind of stuff has been done. So there shouldn't be any more concerns for weather delays like we had this past month. They are currently 106 days late, which leads to, I think, $50-something thousand in liquidated damages. So pretty soon we're going to have to start talking about how that's going to get addressed. Diplomat Way and Eau Claire Drive, not a whole lot has happened this past month. Obviously, you can see the ditches, the ditches are full of water. And they've just been, we've been getting so much rain, and the rain obviously comes on them through, from upstream through the ditches. So they've gotten a little bit. I think they poured yesterday a few panels, but it's just really been slow going with all the rain this past month. They're still, their completion date is August. I don't think they're going to have any problems meeting that completion date, but they're moving along. Streetlight permitting, the last group that we had submitted to DOTD has been approved and finalized, and all that's been sent back to Mr. Wallace, and we're not doing anything right now. As soon as Mr. Wallace sends us a new batch of permits, we can get those in hand, but we're not doing anything at the moment. Home elevations, we've got 210 Napoleon Street is at the beginning of the process. The homeowner right now is just awaiting approval of the construction estimate from the parish before all the documents and everything are signed, and she can get going on that. And that's it. Any questions?
Mr. LaFont.
Who would someone contact if their house is flooded multiple times?
So the way the process works, Darla usually, she has what she calls a repetitive loss list and a severe repetitive loss list. Whenever a home floods and the claim is made, FEMA usually actually sends that information to Darla. But what I would say, if they're looking to maybe try to get some grant money for a home elevation, they would have to call Darla and talk to her, make sure that they're on that repetitive loss list. And then what happens whenever there's hazard mitigation money that kind of comes down the pipe, the parish will put out an application with, you know, whoever, usually I think what Darla does, and I don't want to speak for her, but I think what she does is she'll go down the repetitive loss list and she'll see who has been paid out the most money and who's flooded the worst, and she'll put those on the applications. But there's a lot more that goes into it, but that would be the first step, I would tell you.
Mr. Oldtown?
So on the street lights, that's now being, I mean, they're not up yet. The last group that was just done, the ones that you had up there,
The ones that are up
Those-
here have been done.
so those 5, so they're approved, and now Energy can go put the lights up. They're not the lights are not actually up yet.
I'm not sure if the lights are up.
They're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I was asking. So
I
but now
think-
they're clear to be put up.
Yes, sir, they're clear to put up. I want to say that that we sent these to Mr. Wallace, it hadn't been that long
Okay.
that we've actually sent those back to Mr. Wallace.
They're very
but-
efficient, so that's fine. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure I was clear on that.
Okay.
The second thing is, and both you and Mr. Jimmy, I would address, is on the community center. So you said 60% complete on the design. I would just ask that, so it's been a multi-year project, as we know, we've moved locations, et cetera. But I would ask that we do a community or a town hall meeting to get, I mean, we've done needs assessments over the years and things change. And so I would ask that before we break ground, that we do call it a town hall, get input, see if there's any changes and what's the major need at that point in time. And just to get input for the community, let them have buy-in. So that's just something I would recommend that we do, Mr. Jimmy.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more.
Go ahead.
On that property where that community center is going, I know there was some talk about some of that property being a wetlands. Whatever happened with that?
So when we have to submit the joint permit application, that goes to DNR and the Corps. DNR signed off on everything, they didn't have any issues. The Corps actually called everything, let me back up here so we can look at it. Nope. Okay, so the site that the building sits on, everything to the west, towards the back, the Corps called wetlands. Exactly. So what we did is, you know, in coordination with the administration, we had recommended that a wetland delineation gets done. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but having a wetlands delineation, it's an environmental consultant that comes in, they actually take soil samples, they look at what kind of grass is out there, they look at all kind of stuff, and they actually delineate where they think the wetlands are. So that was done. That was submitted, I believe it was submitted to the Corps. We actually just got that in last week. And what that wetland delineation showed was actually less wetlands than what the Corps had said, but it's still a lot of wetlands. I mean, it's probably 50% of, you know, that back section.
So we can't use that back section? So we bought did we renegotiate this price? That's my next question is gonna be.
Yeah, I'd have to defer to the administration on that. I'm not sure about
Mr. Jimmy, did we renegotiate the price on this property, if it's considered wetlands?
We didn't have an opportunity yet. I just got the map about a day ago.
So,
So-
we didn't purchase the property yet?
No, absolutely not.
All right, so I would make a suggestion that we renegotiate the price if majority of that's wetlands before
That's
we
in the
even consider.
process. We gotta get a price from the person who gave us the price on the property. And, there's some problems. I called for Armin, so I gotta get with Armin on some of the things that I just got to my knowledge about 2 days ago. So after, you know, we can meet tomorrow sometime, Armin. Gotcha.
So you just got the information that was wetland 2 days ago? I know y'all met I heard y'all met several weeks back to look at the property.
Right.
With
but-
somebody.
But we just got the delineation from the people who did the project, who went through the delineation of wetlands. We just got it in for 2 days or 3 days ago. I'm not exactly sure when I got it in.
So how many acres we have total?
Somewhere around 30-some-odd acres, I believe. I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me. I don't remember.
And how much of it's considered wetlands?
I don't have that in front of me right now. 9.2, that's right, 9.2.
9.2 of the 30-something is considered wetlands?
No, 9.2 is wetlands.
All right, I just hope, that's gonna have to come back in front of the council before we purchase that property and renegotiate, I would hope.
I'm sure we will.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? None? Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Not right now, no. Section D, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, and our managers report presentations and updates. Ms. Vicki Adams from Head Start, the Head Start Director, to present Head Start end of school year report. Name and address for the record, please.
Vicki Adams, 305 Ami, Thibodaux, Louisiana. Good evening. In August, our families attended a family night orientation where they were introduced to many opportunities to participate in our program. At the orientation, parents met at each site: Veterans, Marydale, MLK, Bayou Blue, Raceland, MGC, and South Lafourche. At these parent meetings, our policy council members are elected. And you'll see over here, our policy council members meet every Monday, the third Monday of every month. And Mr. Bo Melvin serves as your representative on our policy council. Our policy council provides leadership to our organization. You provide governance, they help us with leadership. Over the 5 years, the 5-year grant period, federal monitors do in-depth checks to make sure that we are doing what we say and we're doing it properly. Now, that's important for you because you're in charge of our legal and our fiscal responsibilities for administering and overseeing the programs and safeguarding the federal funds. So I'm happy to tell you that we have passed all of our monitorings. That is a very good thing. Not many Head Starts do. We have had not one area of even reconsideration if we're compliant. This year we had one more monitoring. This was called the class review. And this is when outside monitors come in and determine the effectiveness of our teachers and our children to make sure that we're addressing social and educational needs. This is a 7-point scale. So out of the 7-point scale, we scored 6.1 on emotional support, classroom organization was 5.2, and instructional support is 3.2. We were in the middle of the nation for our scores, and we compare favorably with the state scores. They also come in and judge us on class. Head Start is required to have certain requirements. The Head Start Act, the Head Start Performance Standards, the Lafourche Parish Grant, and our self-assessments. In your bag, you will see that you have 3 books. The blue book is our new performance standards. These came out in November of last year. In 2017, we have spent the entire spring reviewing all the new rules and regulations. From the performance standards, we write program plans. These program plans are the reason we are compliant with all of our monitorings. We have protocols that say you have to do this, this, and this. You'll notice that after our policy council meetings, because they provide leadership, you're sent a copy of the agenda. You're sent a copy of the notes. That's all part of the protocols the federal government checks when they come in. What I'm doing tonight, they'll probably come in and ask you, did we provide these materials to you at the end of the grant? And you can say, yes, we did. Did we explain what was in the bag? Yes. The second book is the preamble. The preamble was an overview of what the committees decided that we needed to do. It's a clarification. So as we did our performance standards, we would go back to that preamble and we would read what was the thinking of the government, what was the thinking of the research to make sure that we got it right. Probably if you have children at home, the third book is called the Head Start Early Learning Outcomes Framework. It's for children from 0 to 5. It tells us where they should be and what they should be doing at each age from 0 to 5. The other document in there is just the written annual report. Now remember, we have to go with our grant. We have 7 goals with our grant. I'm happy to say that goal 3, we've already in compliance. We are at 100% making sure that our children have services for health and dentals. The second one, the goal 4, we're also compliant because we work with local agencies and we work with the Lafourche Parish School System to coordinate services for our children, our special population. Goal 5, that means that we're financially able, we're following our rules and regulations. That's what we were judged on last year. And in fact, last month, you sent auditors in, I guess it was y'all, sent auditors in to re-audit, and hopefully we'll do fine there. Goal 6, we develop partnerships with, it's called the Early Childhood Network here in Lafourche. And we work with the school system, and we work with 9 other child care schools in the area. And it's to make sure that we have quality child care. So we have 3 that we're still working on. This goal with creative curriculum says that our children enter kindergarten ready to learn. Well, because we're education, we're always going to make sure that we continue that goal. Research, we have purchased a research-based curriculum. This is a mandate through our new Head Start performance standards, as well as the Department of Education. We purchased 15 creative curriculum kits and provided training for our staff. How do we know that our children are progressing? TS Gold is also our research assessment tool. Head Start uses it as well as the Department of Education. We use TS Gold to make sure our children are where they need to be. If skills need to be strengthened, we use activities from creative curriculum to guide the work. The great news is that creative curriculum, TS Gold, and the early childhood outcomes are linked. The other 2 goals, 2 and 7, are about parents. What has changed, it used to be that we focused on parents and community, and we focused on children. Now it says we have to focus on children and families, and we have to look at them as a unit, which is a good thing. So we have tried to bring parents in while we're doing things so that they can learn. One of the examples is that we were awarded a grant, a humanities, from Louisiana Department of Humanities. It's called Primetime Literacy. And children and their families go in for 90-minute sessions for 6 times, once in the fall and once in the spring. We have 2 locations that we're doing that, South Lafourche and in Raceland. And it's been really a nice thing. And the children go home with a book. The other thing we have done is because we need to make sure that everyone understands what children need to be able to do by the time they enter kindergarten, is that we have started in the spring using Dr. Seuss around his birthday. We bring in those children and those families that are going to be transitioning. They're leaving us to go to kindergarten. We focus on three things with this. We focus on rhyme, counting, and patterns. We read One Fish, Two Fish, Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham. So, children in kindergarten do better if they can hear rhymes. That's why we chose the books. And recognize and duplicate a simple pattern. Now, these are skills that handbook tells us that we have to do. One was on page 59, the other one was on 47. So we look at those skills in that outline, those outcomes, and that's how we decided what we were going to do with our parents. The one thing I can tell you is that research has shown the brain is hungry for patterns. And you can see right here, strawberries, bananas, strawberries, bananas, strawberries, bananas. Then we read it as red, white, red, white, red, white. And parents went home and they said they started doing things like making patterns with Fruit Loops and that kind of stuff. So it was a good thing. Towards the end of the year, our policy council told us that we needed to appreciate our staff. So we went, we did staff appreciation, and at the end of the year in May at our policy council, we recognized our people that had been working with us for 20 years and 25 years. Today, we represent a $3 million Head Start grant. It provides we have 72 employees. 90% of our employees live in Lafourche Parish. We educate 292 3- and 4-year-old children. Tonight, through the resolution process, we are applying for a COLA, a cost of living adjustment to our grant. It goes to the federal government. We know the money is already there, but remember how the federal government has protocols? We have to ask for the money. They just don't send it. We are hopeful that this COLA will help our employees and our citizens. As another Lafourche Parish Head Start year comes to an end, I would like to extend my gratitude to our teachers, center directors, managers, FIS, meal techs, bus drivers, bus monitors, Mr. Liu, parents, children, policy council, and the governance board. And that's y'all. Just want you to know that quality child care helps parents grow their income and children grow smarter. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Adams? Being none, thank you very much for the presentation. All right, moving on to Section E, questions for the administration. Session 1, Mr. Otam.
Yeah, just real quick, James, so as was shown earlier, that coastal pump station has been pulled, the old one doesn't exist, there's nothing there anymore. And I know that you do have a temporary pump on the levee. And just for the residents, just to make it clear, because everyone in Lockport Heights, of course, is nervous knowing there's no pump there, we will have a temporary pump on that levee throughout the duration of this construction, correct?
Correct.
And the Fantastic pump is able to handle, if not pretty close to the Fantastic pump station, is able to handle a normal rainfall.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Bourne, can I get a status report on Capital Project 14009, Abbey Lakes Drainage?
Excuse me, we're working on getting some quotes and some quotes on the materials and the contractor.
And about how long we looking at?
I hope to have something, within 30 days.
Okay, because I had some calls over the last couple of weeks on that project be completed. I think that's the last phase of it.
That's correct, the last phase.
Okay. Also, a question for the administration on accident policy and procedures. Can someone from the administration explain that? What's the procedures on that? Also, another question for the administration. And someone showed me how the calculation came up for the parish president's salary.
I don't think they're going to answer, Mr. Jones.
Y'all have all that. I mean, you're dealing with dead horse.
Horse look live to me right there.
You be.
Well, tell me how you
You're-
came up
you're-
with the salary.
Listen,
That's what I
all the
asked you.
information was sent to the auditor. Everything was done. It's done correctly. If you don't think it's done correctly, then you go about the way you gotta go. That's all we gotta say about it. It's over with.
You can't explain how you came up with the numbers?
Yes, I can.
Well, you can't explain. And you said the auditor, which is Stagney? That's who has the report? Okay. I'll call Stagney tomorrow with your permission, huh? All right. You said to do whatever I had to do? All right.
All right, moving right along. Section F, council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions. Mr. Bogala was scheduled to do a report tonight, but he had an emergency leave situation. He had to get to Omaha. So,
I have a question about that.
go ahead.
Aren't we supposed to approve his leave? I mean, he presents one report a month, and the first report we have, bad grammar, I didn't really understand it as a report, but hey, it's his first one. Second one, I don't know. Third one, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I mean, if he's gonna present a report, I mean, our engineers, our other people, someone else stands in and does the report. I just think we need to hold him to the same standard. And if he's gonna have a report, if he can't personally present it because he wants to go to baseball, that's fine. I know Mr. LaFont would like to be there too, as well as several other people in the audience and what have you. Got nothing against that. But if there's a report due, there's a report due. And that's a deadline, and I'd like some accountability on that.
Okay. I approved his leave, by the way. I saw nothing against letting the man go do what he needs to do. It was a trip in conjunction with accompanying his son to visit certain law schools in the Midwest, so he ended up being able to work it out to go see the baseball game as well. But, yeah, from what I understand, the chairman can approve leave of legislative branch employees. Is that correct, Ms. Carleen? Okay, so we're covered.
I'm good with that, but if the report's due, the report's due. I want to see the report. I mean, if he's not going to give it, you have the authority to do that. I'm not undermining that. I just want to see the reports. That's what and
I'll have him email them to you tomorrow.
Mr. Chairman?
Sir.
Mr. Bogala did request that we read the DA opinion on.
Right.
On the report
And
that he
that's
gave
coming up
last
in
month.
lieu of his report. So, Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I'm talking about like Jones is saying, I got an email from Mr. Bacala, and he said that he would have liked to have the opinion read at the meeting, this meeting. I don't know if you have it scheduled for later or not.
It's coming up next. Ms. Carleen's about to read it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Any other further questions on that issue? All right, Ms. Carleen?
Well, I just had
Go
one thing,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman. As far as his leave, you approve his leave, right?
Absolutely.
Do you approve any changes on this agenda, whether that be his report?
I
him
do.
giving a report or not? So if you approve it, then are you the only one that has to approve it, or does it have to come to a vote?
It does not have to come to a vote. As far as,
So you approved him to delay this report until next meeting?
absolutely, and then also approved Ms. Carleen reading the opinion from the DA in lieu of his report, which was going to be encompassed in his report.
Right, because I've heard a little bit about what's on his next report, and I know that he wanted to be here to present it. Now, I'm sure you've heard as well, so I don't know that he'll be able to email it. I think he wanted to be here to present it, so
Sure,
that'll
but
be up to you, but.
If Mr. Bourgeois is biting at the chomping at the bit to see what's in the report, I can get it emailed to him. That's no problem. So, all right, Ms. Carleen, you want to read this opinion?
This opinion was issued in relation to Resolution 17199, 17200, in which the council requested whether Lafourche Parish Council and/or the legislative internal auditor can attend administrative meetings. Dear Mr. Perilou, pursuant to the request made by the council via Resolution 17199, 17200, wherein the council sought opinions regarding clarification that forbids the Lafourche Parish Council members of the legislative internal auditor from attending departmental meetings involving the formulation of public policy of a budgetary nature or construction of capital projects, and clarification whether or not the district attorney has rendered an opinion stating such, the district attorney's office issues the following. According to the information we have been provided, the legislative internal auditor, herein referred to as the LIA, has requested that the administration include him in departmental meetings regarding budget formulation, meetings regarding capital project development and progress, and other meetings regarding subject matter that may be of particular interest to the parish council. According to emails provided by the LIA from the administration, it is the administration's position that these administrative meetings are not open meetings, and therefore legislative personnel, unless expressly invited, are prohibited from attending. In addition, the interim parish administrator stated the district attorney had previously issued an opinion stating that legislative attendance at administrative meetings was forbidden. A search of our opinion database yielded no such opinion. In addition, the interim parish administrator was unable to produce the opinion he stated he was relying upon for making this statement. Although the administration is correct in its assertion that these administrative meetings are not subject to the open meetings law, it is my understanding that the LIA is seeking to be included in these meetings so that he may be better able to perform the job duties that have been assigned to him by the council. There is no legal prohibition that I am aware of which would prevent the administration from allowing the LIA or any member or members of the council, as long as there's no quorum of the council, from attending meetings. In fact, it was common practice under previous administrations to include council members whose districts were affected by various capital projects or issues in administrative meetings. Practically speaking, it would seem that the benefits of inviting the LIA to budget and project meetings would be realized for both parties at budget passage time at the end of the year. Instead of the administration presenting a budget with minimal council input and understanding of how the numbers submitted were achieved, both branches would be better able to utilize the critical weeks of budget hearings, as both branches would be adequately informed as to each other's desires and rationales for inclusion of items within the parish budget. As you are all aware, the less involvement that is allowed throughout the budget development process inversely corresponds to more budget amendments at the end of the year prior to budget vote. This is yet another example of an opportunity for both branches to work together toward the common goal of doing what is best for the residents of Lafourche. The administration is not required to include legislative employees or council members in their meetings, but they are not forbidden or otherwise prohibited from doing so either. Should you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to call. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Carleen.
You're welcome.
Okay, Section G, no legal advisor reports. Section H, public wishing to address the council. I think we have a few.
Mr. Thomas Tabor, if you'd approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, Mr. Tabor. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Thomas Tabor, 159 Coteau Lane, Thibodaux, Louisiana. I don't want y'all to get mad at the chairman for the flags. Flag etiquette calls for any 3 flags, the configuration, American flag goes in the middle. 2 flags, American flag goes to his right. Thank you. Okay, Heroes Monument. I've been working on this thing for quite a few years. On the second page, you'll see it tells you what we're all about. At the top, there's a website. You pass that website off to all your friends. If you go check the website, it's going to tell you everything that Concerned Veterans of Louisiana Incorporated is all about. The monument's a picture of the monument towards the bottom. There's tiles. They're going to be made like stadiums. And where the seating would be, that's where the tiles would be. The next page, Jack Bay, Louisiana Fairground, July 4th to Tuesday. We are having a festival. It's our second one. The first one got rained out last year, so we're doing it again this year. We got poker runs. We got rides. We got 15 by 15 jumper for the kids and a batting cage. We're gonna have a mule with a wagon to carry the kids around. We got food, dancing. We're gonna have a sound stage, and all you need to bring is your money. We got everything else. Now, your next page is, we are a C3 organization, and at the top you see our EIN number, 721540228. Anybody that donates money to this organization is 100% tax write-off. Now, this is just a sample document, but without my signature or my corporate seal on the bottom, that receipt is no good. And what we're asking for is if anybody wants to donate, if they know somebody that wants to donate, if we have the property, we have 2 foundations that will build the monument, but they don't deal in dirt. So we have to get the property. And if we can get the property, like I said, they'll come in and build the monument. Your last page, like I said, and Miss Lorraine knows, I've been working on this thing for a long time. Miss Colleen knows. But this is what I live by. I never give up. So if anybody got any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any questions? Being none, I want to thank you for all the work you do on behalf of the veterans.
Check out our website. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
Mr. Jed Alimon, if you'd approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, Mr. Alimon. Remember, you have 3 minutes.
Jed Alimon, Central Lafourche Drive, 225 Central Lafourche Drive, right here in Matthews. I came out here to address the council because I've been living there 30 years this year, and I know, like everybody else in the parish, we have drainage problems. I just want to know when our turn is. I mean, everybody has a problem, but somebody has to have a list, and you have to have a turn somewhere on the list that we're going to get something done. And I understand that there was money allocated for Central Lafourche subdivision. And I don't know if anyone can answer me if that's true or not.
Absolutely, it is true. Yes, sir. James, you want to let him know where we stand on that project?
Yes, it's still in the engineer's hands. I just hope the engineering company don't eat up the whole $300,000 on just engineering. To try to get this project moving. But we also have a right-of-way in the back. We're gonna add an extra outfall. But yes, we are working with the engineering company to resolve y'all's issue.
So we will have to have an engineering firm come up with a project, and we'll be in that project.
We have a project.
Okay, I mean, could you give me a little small example? What's the plan on being done with the money?
Well, it's all gonna be for drainage. That's dedicated to drainage. And Central Lafourche is only one of the streets. It's about 4 streets included in this.
So in other words, the money is basically to drain the outfall canal in the back of the subdivision. That would be what the money would be used for?
No, sir. That's gonna be done with the in-house parish money.
Okay, so are we looking at what kind of time limit are we looking at as far as getting on that project?
I can't give you an answer right now. They're still working on the hydrology.
Okay. I guess my other question, we say we have money. Would that be maybe to change culverts or add or put bigger culverts in the subdivision? I mean, what would the money be used for if we're going to do a outfall canal with parish equipment, which I understand? What would the money be used for as far as the the money we have allocated, and what is the engineer working on? What type of project are we doing on the engineer? With the engineers, they're going to use up our money. I know they're going to take probably 75% of it on a study, but that's normally how it works.
Well, what they do is do a hydrology study on the area that's water. Then they'll size the culverts, come in and tow-pole it, and then the rest of the money will be spent on culverts. Upsizing the culverts, that's what their report shows.
Okay, so we still haven't had anything back from them, so we're still waiting on the engineering firm. I
Yes.
guess, could I ask who that engineering firm would be?
BKI.
Okay. And my other question, I guess, would be, is there anyone, who should I contact to keep me informed in this, on the ongoing progress of this, this project?
You can contact me, sir.
You
Yes,
would be
sir.
the man.
Yes. And
All
what I'll
right.
do is I'll ask him for updates and get back with you on those.
Okay, I appreciate your time, all of y'all in the council, and like I said, I hope we can all work together in Lafourche Parish and make it a little bit better, and go Tigers.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Christie Babbitt, if you'd approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Ms. Christie, remember you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Christy Babin. I live at 319 X Bypass Road in Raceland. I'm actually a constituent of Mr. Bo Melvin. We have lived at X Bypass, on X Bypass roughly 20 years. And behind you, you will see pictures of our road recently. In those 20 years, before 3 years ago, at one time only did we have issues with flooding, and that's when we had literally 2 feet of water dumped from a hurricane that had came. In the past 3 years, every single time it rains, we pump ourselves. We bought our own pump 3 years ago, and we have to pump water from our home across the street to a cane field that at the end of this year is going to be a subdivision. They plan on bringing in tons of dirt in that, and when that happens, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Now, I can tell you from what we've seen, there's 3 issues that are causing this. First of all, of course, we know the 40 Arpent is flooded. They got a lot of water back there, and I know that the council has been digging one of the ditches in the back of our street to try to help with that. Has it helped? Absolutely not. The only way it might have helped somewhat is our back ditches not flooding into parts of our yard. Number 2, something we did discover last night, which was absolutely overlooked. When several of us built our homes, we were told when we came to get permits that we needed 18-inch culverts placed in. However, once we got a map last night of our road, it is noted from lot 3, block 7, back should be 24 inches. Every single one of them from lot 3, block 7 back are 18s. And y'all can definitely look this up in the maps there. Number 3, I went back yesterday and I measured from my neighbor Ashley Babin's house that's right next door to me, and there is a placard there that states where Lafourche property starts, where y'all should be taking care of drainage ditches. I measured from there, and it showed exactly 20 feet from that spot to the road. So my next door neighbor has been allowed to put up the cement barrier, which I understand they say is not an issue. But I'm going to tell you, since that went up, what he also did is he placed tons of dirt close to his washout. It might be going through somewhat, but it is backing up onto my whole road. My house actually is not shown in any of these pictures right now, but I can, okay, it's going through. But I can tell you at this point now, every single time it rains, and within 30 minutes this past Saturday, 2.5 inches came, and it was at my doorstep. Now, thank goodness Mr. Bo, when I reached out to him, did provide us with another pump to help, because at this point, my pump that I bought with our own money and paid my own gas for is saving everybody on that street. And he did provide an additional pump for us, but it should not be like this. Something has to be done. Thank you.
Bo? Yes, ma'am. I loaded the pictures just to get an idea. And of course, they phone pictures and they're kind of dim, but so it's our understanding real quick. I emailed Mr. James. We're all looking at it. What you're saying is, you know, y'all, in a hard rain, y'all might have had some water issues in the past, but it wasn't until your neighbor has a culvert with a big cement barrier around it, and everybody's stuff's washing down, and it gets blocked up right there. But in the back, where I was witness to it last year, where the last house on the left before the canal, his yard would serve as a holding pond.
Yes.
And his yard wasn't serving as a holding pond because it was all being stopped up where you are.
That's correct, yes,
And
sir.
that's going on for how long now, roughly?
For 3 years.
Okay. Well, maybe we can look at culverts, and I am conversing with Mr. James. I know everybody's soaking wet for 2 months. I mean, everybody. Look, sometimes I sandbag my own house. You know, it's just, it is what it is. But I understand that we're just trying to deal with it as best we can, and we did load you pictures, and you can just flip through them real quick, Jenny. This is, you know, it's pretty major.
This is one of my neighbors'
This is up the street in the 200
Yes.
block, and we just clicked through them real quick, just 5 or 6 pictures. This is looking down the street. There's no houses across the street. Our fear is that when they do start building houses, you can keep clicking, Jenny. When they do start building houses, they want to be able to pump on someone else. So all these houses on X, water's coming in, and granted, we are saturated, but during a bad event, water saturation, hurricane, it spells trouble. So anyway, did you get to the next set real quick, the other file, just to show her house? It's going to be the other folder. Yeah, that's it.
This was my home on Saturday, and as you can see.
That's her house right there, so you can see, I mean, it's almost in her house, and if you go to the next slide or two, it'll show them pumping out. That's down the street, so right here is where this cement barrier is. This guy's high and dry. They have a little water down the way, but it's pooling 3/4 down the street in her yard, and the neighbors and some others. You can go to the next slide, please. And this is them pumping, so I just wanted to show that these people are doing due diligence, just like the Cajun Navy trying to survive, so.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Bourgeois, you had something?
Yeah, I was just gonna share something with you that I happen to know because I have friends and family in the area. But the back ditch, there's culverts and drainage in the back ditch behind the homes.
Yes, sir.
Towards the back, and I don't know exactly where, but my understanding, about 300 or 400 feet, a guy put some culverts in the back.
Very true.
Okay, that culvert is 6 inches too high, and that is impeding the drainage.
Yes, sir. Correct.
And unfortunately, I don't know, there's rumor that the parish installed it a couple years ago when it was installed, and they didn't want to cut the roots. And I just understand that that's impeding a lot of the drainage.
From the back, yes, sir. I don't have culverts on mine at all. But that is true. I am
Right.
aware of
I
that
mean,
situation, yes, sir.
I mean, unfortunately, the ditch along the side of the street is, I mean, I hate to say this, but nobody likes to hear it. It's actually to drain the road and not your yard. But the one in the back is designated to drain your yard. And with that one culvert being over 6 inches too high, my understanding, that's a huge impediment to drainage of the area.
Yes, sir, it is. I mean, I understand it's not necessarily to drain my yard, but I mean, I also feel like that we pay taxes too. This is absolutely unacceptable for just a 2.5-inch rain to do this to my home. We are willing to put the 24-inch culverts in as long as everyone else is willing to do that. It does no good for me to come out with this money and put it in underneath my driveway if nobody else is going to do the same thing.
True. All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sonny Hanson, if you'd approach the podium, Mr. Hanson. State your name and address. Please remember you have 3 minutes. That's the last one, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
My name is Sonny E. Hanson, 317 Market Street in Raceland. Live in District 6, Mr. Paraluz.
Is your microphone on?
White button.
It is on.
Tap it a little bit. Okay.
Go again. Sonny E. Hanson, 317 Market Street, Raceland, District 6. My complaint is I would like to see the parish modify the noise abatement law for Friday through Sundays. When you have beautiful weekends, unfortunately, you can't go outside in my neighborhood, which is on Market Street. We have neighbors that like to play their stereos on loud. So when you're going outside, you're trying to enjoy the day. I understand you have lawn maintenance, you have house maintenance, you have car maintenance, everything, all the other thing. But what you do not want to hear is that boom, boom, boom bass. You try to go inside, watch your own TV, you still hear that boom, boom bass going inside your house. So I asked that the council modify the noise abatement law for Friday through Sundays on weekends. Have that 24-hour curfew where during the day and the night, we shouldn't have to listen to people's car stereos or house stereos on so loud. In fact, I hear it streets over from inside my house, 1 to 2 streets over, it's so loud. The neighbors are disrespectful. They're disruptive. I understand they want to listen to their music, but their music is not my music. So that's why I asked the council to discuss and try to modify. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. Appreciate it. No questions for him. Okay, so that was the last one on public. We're moving on to section I. Ordinances and, for discussion and ratification. Item number 4, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-009 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to correct the carry forward balance from 2016 projects to adjust specific projects and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. This was moved by Mr. Lorraine and second by Mr. Bourgeois. Before we vote on that, we have to take up the amendment. Mr. Lorraine, you want to move on that amendment? And second by Mr. Bourgeois. And this was an item that last meeting there was a lot of questions and discussion on. An email was forwarded to all the council members explaining the movement of those funds. There was an error in one of the fund categories that the money was moved to. So does anyone have any further questions? First of all, on the amendment, excuse me, does anyone from the public have any comment on the amendment? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, being none. Any questions or concerns, comments? Mrs. Sposio.
I guess I'm wondering, or is the money staying in the district with which it's being removed from? Because there's a few projects in here that I just would hope that the money would stay in the prospective district. I guess I'm experiencing right now when money goes out of my district, it's not coming back in right now. So my concern is that. My concern is that it goes back into general fund or whatever it is we call it, and I no longer have any say-so in what happens to it. Also, in something, the case like the Laurel Valley Road, and I guess part of this may be Councilman Melvin's district, we're going to have problems on that road in the not-so-distant future. We've had problems since it was first constructed. So moving money from there just concerns me in that, you know, we'll have problems with it later on. But it's just all of the line items, just why are they being removed up from our districts?
Does anyone care to comment on that, or Mr. Carroll?
Yes, these are actually carry forwards, Ms. Lucy. They're not being taken out of the funds. They're made to adjust the fund to the actual balance that is in the ongoing projects. So it's not being taken out
So
necessarily.
nothing is
it's just
being taken out.
adjusted. Unless they're finished and they're being deobligated, no. But I think all these
Right,
are,
I'm talking about the ones that are being deobligated. I don't know if it's, maybe it's another item I'm talking about with, I don't know if this is the Laurel Valley one or not.
Yeah, it's not item 4.
Okay, I'm talking about another item, I'm sorry. But I will have that question when it's being deobligated from a project.
Okay, so does that satisfy on this item? Mr. Jones?
Lloyd Valley, you're decreasing that, right? For 14,621?
that is to adjust the actual balance. So if it is decreasing it, then it's adjusting it to what the actual balance is. Sometimes they decrease, sometimes they increase. This one being decreased is just a function of what needs to be done to get it at the actual balance. So we're not actually taking funds out of that account. It's just an accounting entry.
What was the actual balance then? What it was before?
I don't have that in front of me. I have to get back with you on that. That's why I asked in my email if you had any further questions to get it to me. But right now, I just can't come off the top of my head with it.
Right, because looking at this, I didn't see the Laurel Valley one when I was first looking at it. That just looks to me that it's being removed from that project, and
These are carry forwards that's done like this every year. I look back last year.
so it's just a carry forward, meaning it's
just
going to stay in that
adjusting
project.
Yes, ma'am. It's just adjusting these accounts to actuals.
Well, what about the ones that say increase and decrease?
It just
How is that
depends on if it was underestimated or overestimated, depending on the adjustment that they have to make to get it to the actual amount.
Okay.
If they predicted $100,000 was going to be spent in a particular project in this year and they only spend 50, then they have to make an adjustment in order to get it up to what it's actually at now. Because they would have assumed that, a lower amount to go be carrying forward into the next year. If for weather delays or whatnot, they didn't spend as much, they need to adjust it at the end. That's what the carry forwards are doing.
So a decrease, if I look at the line item for Laurel Valley, when the budget time comes, it will still have the money in that line item, under that
It's
project.
gonna have the actual amount that was in the project, yeah.
That's gonna be in the general fund? Would that be in the general fund?
That's what it has, general fund.
Lord Valley had a project, capital project code to it, right? So how would that not take it from that project, he put it in the general fund?
All I can tell you is that that's the adjustments that are made every year. I mean, it's not taking it from it, it's an adjustment that has to be made in order to correct that.
You reading the same thing I'm reading here? Fund 001, general fund. You decrease in Lloyd Valley. Lloyd Valley had $14,621.23, right?
That's what the adjustment is, yes. It is not saying that it's wiping out that account, though. It's adjusting the balance for that project.
But you don't have what the balance is in that account.
I went over with my staff to make sure that this is what is done. I was informed and assured and showed last year that is how it's done. This, I don't know how else to explain. That's why I asked in the email if anyone had any further questions. I could have drilled my employees or my staff.
Well, we asked you these questions last meeting. Still showing the same.
That's because that's what has to be done to make these carry forwards happen. He's done that every year.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move the amendment to a vote. If there's no more discussion, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Now we vote on the ordinance as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. All right, section J. Oh, wait, was there a request? Did you have a note on here? Okay, so section J, can we get a motion to open public hearing and ordinance ratification? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. LaFont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opens 801. And so, Mr. Melvin, number 5, you wanting to pull it? Yes. Not defer it, correct? All right, so number 5 is being pulled, Ms. Carleen.
And Mr. Chairman, I would request if we can deviate to item number 23. I know Mr. LaFont had some questions for Jack Plaisance earlier resort.
Okay, motion to deviate to item number 23, second by Mr. LaFont. All in favor? Aye. Oh, yeah, 23 is not in this section. Okay, yeah, first of all, let's go ahead and you want a motion to close the public hearing first? Okay, second by Mr. LaFont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hereby carried. So now you want to make a motion to deviate to number 23?
Please, yes, sir.
Second by Mr. LaFont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Item number 23, resolution approving amendment number 3 to the application for funding for the Dugas Canal project and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin. Second by Mr. LaFont. Any discussion? Okay, well, somebody needs to spearhead this discussion here.
Jack, you want to come out here again? This will wait some questions.
Jack Plaisance, 115 Picciola Parkway.
Jack, Mr. Chairman? if I
Go
may.
ahead.
Jack, I just want a description of what's actually going on, what we're gonna be planning on doing, where we spending the money, what's the whole, I got a map here, so if you could tell me where we're at and I can look at it and see, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. When the program requirements include any changes to be, of course, amended. Let me kind of, I guess I can do it like this. This is an application that's, as you know, several years old. It has changed and been refined at least 2 other times, this being the 3rd amendment to the grant application. As you probably recall, early in 2016, there was a major change to the scope of work when the proposed pump station was removed from the project and additional drainage improvements in the Thibodeau area were added to the project. Rather than bring that change, rather than amend the grant application at that time, we recommended that the administration wait until the design was further along in the design phase so that only one more amendment would have to be processed. Tonight, this is part of that process to bring it to you for approval. So that's the process that's going on. The changes in the scope of work are very simple. The pump was removed and improvements in the country club subdivision were added. There is no change in the grant amount or the value of the funds associated with the project, but of course, the line items were adjusted to take funds away. What was previously part of the pump station is now into the country club subdivision. So it's protocol, procedure, and we need the administration and the grant application needs your authorization to make those changes. We waited until the very end of the design phase to ensure that this would be the last amendment to the grant application. So that's basically what you're looking at tonight, guys.
So all the money that we're gonna be spending now is gonna be spent only in the country club?
No, let me talk a little bit about the scope of work. The scope of work includes 3 major components. The item that remains from the original scope of work is reinforcement of the drainage control structure in the Dugas Canal. You may know that there's a gate system along Highway 308 in the Dugas Canal. That's an antiquated flood control system that doesn't function. And the first item in the project is to retrofit and make modifications to that structure. The second major item is drainage improvements, interior drainage improvements within the Bayou Country Club. That's the new item that basically, it's a new item. The final item in the scope of work includes concrete lining of an outfall canal along Parkside Drive. So those are the 3 major components of the project. The total budget is just under $5 million, and we are currently 99% complete on the engineering phase.
Anything else, LaFont?
I'm just trying, and so total cost is 5-point-something million, you said?
It's just under 5. It's like 495, $4,950,000.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Just simple question. Is that putting runoff water in our drinking water or not?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Melvin.
Yes, just clarification. Since it's been redesigned so many times, it's been about $1 million spent on engineering fees, correct? It was like $400,000, and Waits had to go in and redo everything. So engineering fees ate a big chunk of you know, ate
It's significant. It's not near $1 million, but it is significant.
Okay, and also, my big question, maybe we have to review this further another time, but I just am still curious as to, anytime you have to go back to the Corps, and this money's time sensitive according to Gretchen Coyote and Miss Julie at HGA. The money's time sensitive, it's been pushed off. We ain't pushing it off anymore. The state already told us that, and I'm just trying to figure out, why we have to get it re-permitted. We can cover that later, but it just.
Well, it's state law. It's the simple answer. When you make improvements and affect drainage, you need to, a private corporation, a private individual, a public body, you need to apply for permits. We had a permit that included the pump station, and it did not include the improvements in the country club. So at 75% design last May, we submitted a revised permit application to the Corps of Engineers and DNR. That permit application is being processed, but it is definitely a requirement of the grant program and state law.
Okay, thank you.
Jack, I have a question on this project. Originally, okay, it was designed as the Dugas Canal pump station, and it would alleviate flooding and sitting water in the country club neighborhood as well. How effective versus a pump station will this new plan be? I mean, will it? It seems like we're giving away a lot here and spending the same amount of money.
Very fair question, and what I would say about it, Corey, is that when the project was first initiated several years ago, there were no requirements by the owner, the parish, to look at the country club drainage system. This was a downstream problem and a downstream solution. When the pump station was eliminated from the scope of work for reasons you all know about, and surveys and investigations were done within the country club, I can tell you, because I've looked at those plans for about 2 weeks now, the problems, the drainage problems within the subdivision are severe. Culvert inverts out of whack, ditches filled up halfway to where they should be. The inverts are not correct. What I would say.
But that wasn't even in the initial scope, right?
That was never in the initial scope of work for the engineer to investigate. It was a downstream issue, and like I said, it was a downstream solution. When the amendment to Mr. Waits' contract went through last fall sometime, he spent several months surveying a very large subdivision, as you know, and like I said, I'm looking at the plans now, and the problems in the subdivision are severe. And it's apparent to me in my review of the plans and specifications that it's going to make a big change to the upstream flooding that we've seen pictures of and heard discussions about previously.
So basically, there's no way to quantify the new project versus the old project with the pumps and what difference it'll make for those residents.
I think that this is this is the upstream effect. We could pump down the waters in the 40s 6 feet, but the point in what I'm saying is the water's not getting there. The water's hanging up on the higher elevation areas of the subdivision. So if we lowered the water table in the rear, I can't say that would help the flooding that we saw pictures of and had discussions on. It's an interior drainage issue. It appears to me that driveway culverts were put in hodgepodge, out of alignment, out of elevation, ditches, roadside ditches in your right-of-way are not to the proper invert.
So, and again, it's not really going to my question. My question is, the original Dugas Canal pump station, so you're saying it wasn't designed to alleviate the country club neighborhood?
The target area in the original application was Parkside Drive.
Okay, so basically.
Which is in the country club.
Parkside Drive is part of the country club, but not, it doesn't encompass the whole neighborhood? So now, instead of spending that money on the pump stations, we're gonna spend that pump station money on doing culvert work and elevation work in the neighborhood. I wanna know, how will this new approach contrast to the original approach in helping the subdivision? I mean, is it something that they're gonna benefit greatly from, or is it just a way to spend that money instead of losing that money?
What I'll say in my most responsible response is the impact is going to be greater from what I've seen in photographs of flooding, personal accounts of upstream flooding. That water has to get out, and it's not. It's hanging up in the upper and middle areas of the subdivision because of the drainage structures, ditches, culverts, catch basins not being to the proper grade, size, location.
Right, which was not addressed in the original
It was
scope.
not. Right. The
Which
original,
baffles me. I mean, I don't understand. If that's gonna help the subdivision, why wasn't it designed like that to begin with?
the scope of work that was assigned to the engineer was to reduce the backwater, the tailwater elevation. There was no requirement, no discussion for the engineering team to investigate what was going on upstream. It was not a problem that was brought to our attention as the project managers, nor to the engineering.
But because the pump station was shot down and that extra money came available, y'all went back to the drawing board and said, okay, let's spend it this way. Since we can't build a pump station, we'll go ahead and help them with drainage, with culverts and digging and things like that.
It's a fair statement, but I would like you to consider that the discussion and regrouping with new councilmen, new administration, we had an opportunity to reanalyze the problem, and we were required to come up with a different solution. This solution, in my opinion, is going to benefit the country club in a way that the
Equal to a pump station would have.
No, sir, in a more effective way.
Okay.
For that area of the project than what a pump station would have done.
You answered my first question right there. I appreciate it. Mr. Melvin. Mr. LaFont.
Jack, what was the target area to relief, and you were getting ready to see it, for the pump station? I remember it was from like the country club, how far south were we talking before?
And I'm going to try to do this quickly. It's not a quick discussion. The original target area of the grant proposal was a short portion of Parkside Drive. That was where you had repetitive flooding. I can't say I'm not aware of house flooding, but street flooding, yard flooding. That was the original target area. When the engineers came on board, the pump station idea was developed, and it was realized that instead of ring levying Parkside Drive, having a small pump, having a larger pump, you could have a much greater benefit area for the same budget, the project budget. So, does that answer your question?
Well, I thought, because I've been here, this is my 6th year or whatever, but I thought like Brandywine, Klein Peter, all those streets, that wasn't part, wasn't all those streets part of the reason?
You're correct. So when the pump station idea on Bayou Lafourche was went through design, those areas would have had a benefit, which they will not realize in the current scope of work.
Right. So how are they going to affect those people? Are they going to get any relief? Probably not. And I think the original grant was for low income. And I think they didn't include part of the country club because of the fact that, is that not part, wasn't that true?
No, sir. To my best understanding, this particular project didn't fall into low to moderate income areas. It was an urgent need. You have basically two categories that these grants fall under.
I thought it did. I may be wrong, but I'm almost.
I'm gonna double check that, and I can get back with you tomorrow.
And look, I think we need relief drainage anywhere we can. I've been down that street, but, and just now you said y'all gonna reinforce with cement on Parkside. Where are y'all gonna I can see behind next to the water district, but it's really not Parkside. Is that where
The rear portion of Parkside Drive, beyond Country Club Avenue, there is an outfall canal on the north side of Parkside Drive. And that particular canal is very difficult to maintain. It has a narrow right-of-way, and that's where all of the water, that's where the largest portion of the water from the whole subdivision gets to the back canal.
Right.
And by lining that canal with concrete, it's going to be a much better benefit for flow and a side benefit for maintenance.
All right, Mr. Otan.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at here. So the target area, when I look at it and I zoom in, a lot of it is farmland. It extends pretty far north over a lot of currently agricultural land or underdeveloped land, and on the south side, same.
You may be looking at the original target area for the project.
I'm looking at Amendment 3 attached to our packet.
They want to do this ditch right here. Watch.
So on Amendment 3, the target area, there's on the south side barrier, there's a pretty good bit of farmland, it looks like. And then the north side, which is a pretty big area. My question is, are we taking into account future development of those areas? Is question number one, because it's obviously going to be a problem. The more we develop, the less area we're going to have for moisture is going to come off quicker. So if you follow what I'm saying here, if what I'm looking at, there's a lot of area that can still be developed inside this target area.
And target area on a grant application, I can't say to you, Mr. Otan, that that's going to be a benefit area for this particular project, and I have a suspicion that you may be seeing the original target area. I don't have a copy of the amendment, but what I can tell you in fact is that this project is going to benefit the Country Club subdivision. It will also have a benefit to the target area because of the improvements to the Dugas Canal flood control structure. I didn't talk about it much, but that first component of the project that I described were modifications to the water control structure at the head of the Dugas Canal near 308. Correct. That is an antiquated system, and it has in the past and has historically allowed Lafourche floodwater to come into the Dugas Canal, which in effect brings backwater flooding to that whole target area you're seeing. So the component of the project, modifications to that structure, will benefit the area you're describing.
Okay, that's my concern, is just like Ms. Babin said earlier, they're going to develop across the street, and that's going to increase problems in their area. That's what I see here, is as this gets developed, my concern is there's a lot of area to be developed in this target, the original target area perhaps, and I can see more pressure on the system if we don't take that into account, whether it's up front or down the road when it comes to the Planning Commission.
Look,
so that's something we need to be cognizant of, I think.
I would definitely agree with you, because that area is historically a swamp. That's a very low-lying area. So as subdivisions are developed, consideration would always need to include the low-lying elevations and the backwater.
And then that's great. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same board, and what I'm pointing out, everybody understands. The second thing is, just real quick, is most of the improvements that are going to be made, like you just referenced on Parkside Drive, that's all going to be on parish right-of-ways. We already have the existing right-of-ways. There's no improvements to some private landowner that's going to be taking place?
With one recent exception, what you're saying is correct. Within the last couple of weeks, the engineer came to us with a proposal to utilize an existing drainage ditch on the parish, on the water district's property. just south of the country club and adjacent to the country club subdivision, the Lafourche Parish Water District, the plant property. There's an outfall there. It's well maintained. It's easy to access. We're looking at one final change to the plans and specs to include bleeding off a small amount of the water from the country club into that ditch. Mr. Barnes and I looked at it about 2 weeks ago. We're in discussions with Dirk and the water district representatives. That would be the only location where a new right-of-way is being considered. I think there's a good chance that that's going to be integrated into the project, but I'm not 100%.
Thanks, Jack.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Jack, I'm sorry, I know you're not prepared for this, so don't take it
Bring it on.
personal, but I'm looking at the application, which is in all of our packet. Page 7 of the application specifically asks total number of families, elderly heads of families, female heads of families, moderate income, low income, extremely low income, elderly, handicap, American Indian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islanders versus percentage of white. You go to page 8 of the application, it says the project target area is located wholly within Census Tract 20202, Block Group 3, local record number, and it lists a bunch of numbers, which, bottom line, as you skip to it, it says, which 25.9% of the residents are low income. And this is the beneficiary. My concern is low to moderate. But my concern is that I just don't want us to violate the application.
Absolutely. And what I want to say to you, James, is that my role on this project is design, engineering, and some level of dealings with the application particulars. What it sounds like you're saying, and I'll verify this tomorrow, is that the application does include low to moderate income areas. That being said, the benefit area, as Mr. Armand noted, is larger than the country club, and I have a suspicion and a comfortable feeling that that's where those particulars come from. Because we're making improvements to the Dugas Canal in a way similar to what the pump did, you have a larger geography and a more versatile coverage area.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm with Mr. LaFont and everybody else. I'm all about drainage, and it doesn't matter where you live and all that. I just don't want this council to be exposed to violation of federal funds on a grant that is.
Absolutely.
I just want to keep us out of
Nor
trouble.
would I. I totally understand. I'd
Thank
like to get back with you and correspond with you as soon as possible on that.
Okay.
Mr. Melvin.
Real quick, would you say that from Donaldsonville, where the bayou originates, to Fouchon, that there are some culverts, just like the brand-new bank on Canal Boulevard, Highway 308 in Thibodeau, that drain directly into the bayou? Lots of them?
Can you say that a little bit slower, please? You
Okay.
lost me about halfway through.
There's a brand-new bank in Thibodeau on Highway 308. It's gonna have it's a community bank, it's a rebuild on the corner right across from the old Doug's, right across from Rite Aid.
Okay.
It's a huge culvert. When I pass by the Burger King on 1, I can see this big culvert draining into the bayou. There's a lot of that up and down the bayou. Would you agree?
Absolutely,
Okay,
without a doubt.
So we do have neighborhood rain runoff into the bayou, correct?
Absolutely,
And we
without
do
a
drink
doubt.
that bayou water once it's clean, correct?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Lucy, you have something?
Yeah, so you're saying that data, and I guess you're gonna check into it, you said that data that gave demographics was redone when the project was redesigned? Or was that the existing data for the original design with the pumps?
What I would want to say about it, Miss Lucy, is that very early on in the development of these projects, a project was either initiated for low to moderate income area benefits or urgent need area benefits. That, in my role in this project, that decision, that distinction is a very small consideration, if you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I keep on top of my head or in everything else that I deal with. I can't say for certain which of the two categories this project falls in because it's not relevant in my daily dealings.
Okay.
But I do want to respond back because it's been mentioned several times. It's part of the application. I can tell you that the application was put together with much care and consideration.
Oh, well, just one more thing. You mentioned that one private owner of property outside of the country club may benefit from it. Who is that?
The Lafourche Parish Water District may have a side benefit because
But no private owners of any property nearby has a benefit of any?
no, that's not exactly true. There would be private landowners who benefit from the project because of the modifications to the Dugas Canal water control structure. Historically, high water events in the bayou have forced water down the Dugas Canal and into those backwaters, which is certainly a part of the flooding impact. It's a component of what makes the flood. So by making those changes to that water control structure, you're going to have some benefit to everybody from the downstream.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would like to defer this because this is a low and moderate income grant. And y'all redesign well the numbers for white, black, Indians. Where are the numbers at now? Because I know definitely this been a grant for a few years. So, and I think it started off at Park Drive and went to Lafourche Crossing.
The original idea was a forced drainage system, small, in the area of Parkside Drive. When the engineers came on board, they realized early on that a pump station at the Dugas Canal could benefit a larger area. You know what happened subsequent to that. With discussions, the pump station was removed and the focus was utilized within the country club for subsurface drainage. I'm not sure if I can, this is not a deal breaker, this amendment. If you really feel like you need to review this again or have clarifications, honestly, it's not a deal breaker for this grant.
Yeah,
This is an amendment to a grant application to refine it to the current scope of work. That's what this entails. We've in the past, amendments similar to this have been submitted with previous council authority. The current administration has taken these smaller actions to the council, I think, as a courtesy to keep you in the loop, but it's really not that big of a deal, but I certainly want you to be informed about the questions you're bringing tonight.
Yeah, good. So you wouldn't mind if we defer it?
It won't hurt my feelings.
Ms. Esposito.
Well, number 11 says, the purpose of Section 3 is to ensure that employment and other economic opportunities generated by HUD assistance or HUD-assisted projects covered by Section 3 shall, to the greatest extent feasible, be directed to low and very low-income persons, particularly persons who are recipient of HUD-assisted assistance for housing.
Okay.
So that's what I just want to make sure we don't.
That is a requirement for contractors, and because it's a HUD grant, the bigger parent of the funding is HUD, you're required to do Section 3 in your construction documents. So contractors are also
So you're
required.
talking about the DBE requirements?
No, it's not that. The contractors actually are required to do due diligence in forcing their workers or providing workers of those types of
So this is the employment of the.
It's a federal project. There's federal regulations that also require your contractors to utilize some of those skill sets that you mentioned.
Okay.
Mr. Melvin, once again.
Are the other CBDG monies being used for other things like, you know, in Lockport for recreation and this, that, and the other, there's a lot of CBDG money spread out all over the parish, correct?
The CDBG funds under this program, Gustav and Ike, were
$33 million.
utilized for about 12 different projects from Thibodeau to Leeville.
Okay, and who modified this project after January 2016 to make it the focus of what it is today? Who is in charge of that?
The administration is our contact in developing the scope of work for a project.
Okay.
And, yeah, the Lafourche Parish administration.
And lastly, what's the timeline on losing the money so that nobody gets it? No benefits. You know that? You have that question?
The due date for plans and specs is July 3rd. Like I mentioned early in the report, I have plans and specs on my desk for final review. They will be submitted to the state by the week's end to meet the July 4th
Okay, because we do have group homes in the country club. We have 2 or 3 group homes. We do have some, you know, it's not CCL, Louisiana, where we live, but I mean, you know, we do have some folks drive around and you'll see it's just not everybody plays golf who lives there.
Well, I'd like to keep it technical. My role is technical.
All right. Noonan, you got something else?
Yeah, so I mean, as this comes to a vote, I was in favor of it. I'm not sure. I'm kind of confused. I think Bo talked about it. Sounds like you wanted to go into the buy. I'm not sure. Are you recommending this or not recommending this? I guess I'm a little confused. Which way are we going?
Well, you know, to me, if you got money there and the state's telling you can't get an extension anymore, and every time there's a turnover in a DPW person, a parish administrator, a parish president, an election, it keeps getting washed over. Who suffers in the parish? Are we here for the parish, or are we here to nitpick? That's the question. If the state says use it or lose it, what you gonna do? I understand we're asking good questions. This is good dialogue. This project's been going on since 2011.
So it's.
I mean, I'm worried about losing the money. Nobody gets it then.
So,
I mean, you know, that's what the state told us, correct, Jack?
And look, I want to elaborate a little bit on what you're saying. We have a deadline. In my experience, the permit, which we will not have by July 4th, the coastal use joint permit, which we will not have by July 3rd, I don't think it's going to kill the project, but there's no control over that. That's with the state.
Okay.
Submittal of plans and specs, processing of the amendment to the grant application, I think is very important. Are they going to pull the plug on this project because this amendment doesn't go through tonight? I don't think so, but I would not want to be accountable for that should it come to pass.
Just for the record, I believe that a certain percentage of some improvements are better than no improvements. I will die on my deathbed saying that water's going to eventually have to go in the bayou at some point. I like the project the way it was, but I can't fight the administration. That's just the way it is, and here we are. So that's my opinion.
Okay, so Bo, just to make sure I'm clear, you're in favor of this project? Yes. Moving forward, okay. Because
Gary, you got something?
I mean, I was on the other side of this with, you know, and I disagree. I don't believe that the water should go in the bayou. After '08, when DEQ went to every person that lived on the bayou and every business because of high fecal coliform content, ever since then, they've been directing everything away from the bayou, and I agree with that.
Right, this is a closed system.
So, and if we're gonna make some improvements, I think Jack's got a plan. It sounds like we're not doing improvements to private property. So I feel like let's roll with it.
I can assure you that in a grant project like this, the structure, the protocol, the procedure is it's even more difficult. I understand what your comment was, and I think it relates to what Ms. Lucy was talking about earlier, private property. You have to provide them with a documented right-of-way. There's a procedure. There's another group of engineers that the state has reviewing all of this to make sure that that kind of thing doesn't happen. So you're in good hands. I think the amendment is very important. I think the one question that I'm unable to answer for you without reading it right now is whether it's a load-of-mod project or an urgent need project. That's semantics. It doesn't change the quality of the project, the intent of the application. I think it's an important question. I'm not trying to avoid the question, but it's not really relevant to where we are right now with the project, with the deadlines, with the permits, with the technical side. I would think you should vote for this. My opinion, after watching this thing roll through for, like you said, many years, but it's not up to me.
Okay, LaFont.
I just got one question. I want to see it happen, but I don't want to go to prison. All right? So is it on you or is it on me? If the government comes back and says, y'all just did all this project and it was supposed to be spent on low to moderate, but y'all spent it in a country club, who's going to prison? I'm not going to prison. I've never been arrested in my life. I don't plan on being ever arrested.
With all respect, I think what you're saying, the question you're asking, is it's not a concern of mine whatsoever.
Right. I'd say we amend it just to say I'll vote for it tonight, but if the government comes back and says that it should be spent on low to moderate, then we have to do what the government says. I would like to have an amendment of that.
The application is already in effect. I just can't recall for you right now if it's apples or oranges, if it's low to moderate type project or urgent need. There was two different types of projects, and it's not been on my radar for several years because we got past that phase.
All right, Jack, can you just research that and get back with us? Send us an email.
I can tell you tonight. I mean, I
Please.
can,
All right.
yeah.
Let's move it to a vote because I don't think Bo Melvin's going to be deferring this thing tonight, so it's going to be moved to a
Should
vote
we amend
regardless,
it?
right? Amend it to what?
Saying that I'm vote for it, the fact, no? All right, let's go for it.
All right, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 6-0-1-1.
2 nays, huh?
No, 1 abstain and 1 nay, right? 2 abstains. Who else abstained? Yeah. Absent and abstain is different. Yeah, Mr. Bourgeois abstained, Mr. Jones voted no. All right, passes 6-0-1-1. Motion by Mr. Lafont to go back to the public hearing, second by? Yeah, to reopen it, that's what we're doing right now. Your motion to go back to regular agenda, second by Mr. Bourgeois, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Second by Mr. Bourgeois, all in favor? Aye. We are back into the public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Number 5 was pulled. Number 6, ordinance amending ordinance number 5410 and amending and reenacting Chapter 34, Article 24, Section 34-597 of the Code of Ordinances of the Lafourche Parish Council as it pertains to the Board of Commissioners for the South Lafourche Beachfront Development District, moved by Mr. Lorraine.
Mr. Chairman, before you go there, you didn't ask for opinion. I don't want anybody to come back next meeting and say you didn't ask for any nays on opening ordinance. A little while ago, you said that all in favor going into the public hearing. You didn't say any nays. Can you please do it just so we don't have?
Okay, moving into a public hearing. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. All right, so on this is moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none from the council? Being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Item number 7, ordinance amending ordinance number 5459 as it pertains to the proper spelling of Ainsley Drive that established acceptance of the subdivision known as the Villas at Layton Plantation into the parish system. Moved by Mrs. Sposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none from the council? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hey, I'm going to have you guys sound off on these votes. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Item number 8, ordinance amending ordinance number 5880 as it pertains to the proper spelling of Ainsley Drive that changed, another one, that changed the speed limit from 25 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour. Moved by Ms. Sposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Being none. From the council? Being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Item number 9, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-017 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to cover the emergency removal of the Chevron Bridge with an estimated cost of $450,000, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any said transactions as provided by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none. How about from the council? Being none. Mr. Lorraine, you got something?
Yeah, gentlemen, things happen, and what we're looking at is Coast Guard has been meeting with James and Aaron, and we're looking at trying to get this money out of an emergency fund. We have $1 million there, and I would assume this would be called an emergency, and I'd like Aaron to get up and say a few words about where we at with this, the correspondence you have with the Coast Guard. We have a letter from the district attorney, and explain where we at. Also explain the liability.
Name and address for the record.
Aaron Frymore, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews. This started back in April. The Port Commission operates and maintains this bridge. We own the bridge. They had an engineer go out there because they were having some issues opening the bridge. The bridge would not open. Upon the inspection from the engineer, the bridge is swaying when it's open. If you're not familiar with the bridge, it's on a pivot pier. So when it pivots open, the full structure is on the pivot piers. According to a DOTD underwater inspection in 14, 31% of the pivot piers are non-existent or non-usable. And in the past 3 years, they've gotten worse. So being that the bridge cannot open anymore, it cannot safely open for vessel traffic, the Coast Guard now gets involved and says we're out of compliance with federal guidelines because the bridge can't open for vessels. So they're saying we have to fix it or repair it or remove it. To fix the bridge is a $9 to $10 million project. To replace the bridge is a $14 million project. To remove it is $450,000. So we've came to the decision that it's better to remove the bridge than try to fix it at this point in time, because there was no public access, which was to the beach, which was what the bridge was for. So the Coast Guard gave us we had a deadline by May 19th to give them an update. We got with the engineer. We had 2 engineers' opinions saying that the bridge is it's not fixable, not usable, and so we started the process to get the bridge removed. I was told by the Coast Guard that it is 100% Lafourche Parish's liability if something happens on that bridge. As of right now, it's safe to keep the bridge open to vehicle traffic. It's not safe to open to vessel traffic, but the Coast Guard will not allow that, so something has to be done.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Aaron? Bo?
When's the last time it opened to vessel traffic? I go into that bridge quite a bit, and I haven't seen it open in my lifetime.
According to the Port Commission, it opened 65 times last year.
65 times last
Yes.
year? I must have gone on the wrong days.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Aaron, did the Coast Guard tell you to take it out of the emergency fund?
I have no discussions about where the money's coming from.
I can't support this taking out emergency funds. Right now, we're in hurricane season. We got $1 million in the fund, using $500,000 for the bridge. And we just, in 1 month, we're getting rainstorms already. We need this money in the emergency fund. That's my brief on it.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I think Mr. Jones wants us to take the money out of road sales tax too. You got Mr. Otam, Mr. Lafourche, myself, been trying to get a road project for the last year and a half. We're close, and we're looking at a $3 million project. Road sales tax too has paid over $6 million in the last 5 years for bridges, and that is not fair. we need to take it out of emergency funds because it's an emergency, gentlemen. That's what it is, an emergency. Mr. Jones, we came to put $2 million in that fund last year, and Mr. Jones took $1 million out to do some projects. He wasn't worried about a hurricane then. This is not a hurricane fund. This is an emergency fund. And if you want to take the liability, take it. Didn't they have a wreck on that bridge today or yesterday or during the week?
A week ago.
Yeah. And he also said that we would be liable.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And if you want to shoot it down, shoot it down. But I'm proud of the administration for putting it under the emergency fund. I don't choose. No councilman chooses. It's their choice. And that's what it is. And who owns the bridge?
Lafourche Parish government.
You have a letter from the district attorney?
I do.
And what does he say?
They stated that there's no they see no reason for us to not be able to remove the bridge.
Exactly. So all I can tell you is that it should come out of that fund. I mean, we've helped y'all tremendously. We've done $6 million. Galliana Bridge was $2.5 million prior to this one. Carte Blanche in Jerry's district was $2 million. Jerry's district again at McDonald's when we changed the grading, that was $500,000 when the state gave the bridge to the, we paid for all that. But we have to draw the line somewhere. Y'all got to help us out somewhere.
Mr. LaFont.
I don't like it coming out of emergency fund. I think you got a lot of projects going in your district that maybe we could take some there, but also we got $6 million I think almost $6 million in BP fund, and a lot of it came because that area was messed up. So maybe we could look at taking a little bit out of there, a little bit out of somewhere else. But I don't think it ought to come out of emergency fund. I think it needs to come from somewhere else.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with that too, because I've heard from quite a few people that are not very fond of it coming out of the emergency fund within the parish, employees of the parish. But two things I have is, so first off, Daniel talked about the liability aspect, a wreck on it. So can't we immediately stop traffic if that's an issue?
We could stop traffic, but then there would be no access to Chevron. But
there won't be when the bridge is going anyway.
Well,
so I don't think
we're working with Chevron. They've requested a couple months to get their plan in order so that they will be without a bridge. I don't think necessarily the concern is about vehicle accidents. I mean, regardless, if an accident happens on a vehicle, you know, we're always liable.
But my point is, I mean, shouldn't the administration consider just stopping access immediately to the bridge?
The concern is with vessels. If a vessel would hit that and the bridge would collapse, then knowing the condition of the bridge, that's where the Coast Guard is saying the liability falls on us.
Yeah, I guess if it couldn't get open, I mean, if a boat just ran into when it's in that position, so I don't think that's a valid argument in my opinion anyway.
No, I understand.
But I think if the liability is for wrecks, then you just block the bridge immediately, because I mean, we haven't had access to the beach in I don't know how many years, which is unfortunate. I think we all grew up going to the beach. That was item number one. Number two is how hard is the $450,000? Is that one group that went out there and gave a quote, or you've gotten multiple bids on demo, and just out of curiosity?
This is we've gotten two estimates from two engineers. There's one engineer from Lafayette that has been doing all the engineering work on it, and then Piciola has joined with them and reviewed the case. The $450,000 is what Piciola submitted to us for a scope and estimate of the removal of the bridge.
Okay, so I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I guess you got to get engineers involved. We can't just have a local demo group go and pull that thing out.
Correct, because it's not, our first initial thought was that we would just move the movable span, but being that it's a Coast Guard permitted bridge, the entire structure has to be removed. It all has to be permitted to be moved to do the project.
Mr. Jones.
Last question, Corey, if you don't mind, is are there any grants available, whether it's state, federal, Coast Guard, to assist local governments with this?
With the removal? I don't think we have the time to go through that process, being that it needs to be done now.
All right, Mr. Jones.
All right. Aaron, I'm kind of confused. You said, the Coast Guard said it need to be done now.
Correct.
But Chevron actually leave it stay open 2 months so they can work out some plan.
Well, because this plan we submitted to the Coast Guard, what we received from PCO is that it would take 30 days to design, 60 days for bid, and then, I can't recall what the other 30 days is for, but just to get the plan in process to actually get to the demolition. That's where we come up with the 2 to 3 months that Chevron can still use that bridge.
So it won't be dangerous then to use the 2 or 3 months?
It's not dangerous to keep it open for vehicle traffic. The danger is when you open it to vessel traffic. You cannot open it to vessel traffic.
Still, Mr. Lorraine said strip the emergency fund $1 million. I put the $1 million back where the administration stripped it from. They got a road sale tax down there for road drainage and bridges. They can use that. I wouldn't mind giving some of the BP money, but out of emergency fund, no, that's not.
I understand there's a question about the funding, and I have no
We appreciate your
say
input
so
on
for
this
that,
thing.
so.
Real quick,
Yes.
on that, you said you had engineers. I don't remember the administration coming in front of the council to approve an engineer for that.
For what?
Anytime we hire an engineer, we need to approve them.
We did not, you talking about to go do the inspection?
Yeah,
That was the Port Commission operated and maintained the bridge. They pay for all that.
they paid for the engineer and
Yes,
all
sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, so if no further comments, we're going to move this thing to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Nay. Hands up for yay. 2, 6, 1. Fails. I think it's all about the funding. Moving on, number 10, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-018 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase the coastal zone management 181 budget to cover a project to develop and install an oyster bed surge protection system to promote ancient burial mounds sacred to the Pointe au Chien Native American tribe, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Council Charter. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by. No second. It is second by Mr. Lorraine. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. From the council, Mr. LaFont.
I just got a question. I know we had somebody approach the council to protect some burial structures in Leeville, and it didn't happen. And once again, and look, I think all places are sacred. My father's buried in Grand Isle. I know one day he won't be able to, I won't be able to go visit him. Do we spend money to protect them? And how long will this protect that place? Has anybody did a study? If we put oyster shells there, would it protect them for a year, 2 years with the rate of water coming up? I'd like to know all that before I vote on it.
Good question. Ms. Esposito.
I agree with Councilman LaFont. It's $25,000, and we don't know how long it'll last.
Name and address, please.
Amanda Wazan, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana. As far as I know, this is actually Adam with the grant writer. This is through a grant that Terrebonne Parish got, and they requested a match from Lafourche Parish. So I'm not directly involved with this project, but this is more of a grants project. But I just wanted to let y'all know that this is for a match to a grant.
Okay. LaFont?
I just got a question. Anybody from the administration can answer this? Do y'all know anything about it? Is the parish president going for the night?
It is a grant where we put up 25,000, they put up 25,000, and just to protect that great
You know how long
area.
it's supposed to protect it, what they did a study?
No, they did a study, yeah.
Do you have any idea what it is? Are you acting as a project manager or parish administrator?
Project manager.
Project manager? All right, is that one of your projects you're in charge of?
I think Adam Lafourche, the grant writer, has the information for this, because he was the contact between Terrebonne. And the grant is actually going to CRCL, the Coalition for Coastal Restoration. I'm sorry, I don't know the acronym right off the bat, but it's between that nonprofit, Terrebonne Parish, and Lafourche.
Ms. Posey.
This, whereas the project will be funded through royalty funds with a $25,000 match of local funds and $45,000 match for the Gulf of Mexico Alliance. So the $25,000 is coming from royalty.
And the fact
And the reason I'm asking these questions is because I've been seeing a lot of studies where the federal government is going to be spending $53 million to relocate the residents in Pointe-au-Tremble and Island de Janeiro. So do we spend this kind of money to protect it when the federal government knows there's no way to protect it? You know,
I guess
that's
that
my
argument
question.
can be made for all of coastal restoration, you know? I mean, that's the argument, that's a bigger argument, I think, too, and I think that's worth talking about. But I just wanted to let y'all know this is a match for a grant.
Okay. Okay, so be it. This would be till which one? Next, July 11th. Item number 10 has been deferred until July 11th. Dan, you pull your second? And you'll defer, okay. Yes.
Did Mr. Jimmy leave the meeting? Is he coming back, or do y'all know, or he's not going to attend?
All right, moving on. Number 11, ordinance approving a lease agreement between Lafourche Parish government and the Congregation of Holy Savior Roman Catholic Church to utilize property for recreational purposes and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said lease agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam. Second by Mr. Sposito. Any comment from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none. From the council? Being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801, I believe. Number 12, ordinance approving a right-of-way agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and ETEL Corp. LLC and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Somebody move on this for me? Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Melvin. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none. From the council? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Can we get a motion to close public hearing? Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Melvin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So carries. 801. You need a break, Bo? Okay, let's take a 10-minute recess. For a short. For a short. All right, Ms. Lucy, would you go ahead and read Section K, the proposed ordinances?
Number 13, proposed ordinance to install 2 deaf person in area signs on West 137th Street, with 1 sign to be placed east of house number 128 and 1 sign to be placed west of house number 28, Galliano, Louisiana, Ward 10, District 9, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, and authorizing the installation of 2 deaf person in area signs as indicated above, proposed by Councilman Lorraine. Number 14, proposed ordinance approving an act of donation between Lafourche Parish Government and St. Mary Community Action Agency for the donation of 1 Ford E350 van with the VIN number 1FTSS34S38DB32416 and 1 international cargo trailer with VIN number 1UK500 H269106797 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement in any of and all relevant documents proposed by Councilman Jones for administration. Number 15, proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 5877 that amended ordinance number 5833, which adopted the 2017 operation and capital budget for the Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting the salaries of unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents proposed by Councilman Jones for administration. Number 16, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-020, within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to amend the budget as per the library board recommendation and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction and provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, proposed by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. Number 17, proposed ordinance providing for 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-021 within the 2017 operation and maintenance budget to de-obligate the library HVAC project 14050 and the auto machinery project due to the projects being completed, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, proposed by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. Number 18, proposed ordinance rescinding ordinance number 5916 that approved a lease agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Upper 10 LLC to utilize property for recreational purposes, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said lease agreement and any and all relevant documents, proposed by Councilman Perilou for administration. 19, proposed ordinance approving a lease agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Upper 10 LLC to utilize property for recreational purposes, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said lease agreement and any and all relevant documents, proposed by Councilman Perilou for administration. 20, proposed ordinance requesting no dumping of trash, $500 fine, and no trespassing, $100 fine, be posted at 2058 St. Mary Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Parish of Lafourche, providing for the placement of no dumping of trash, $500 fine, and no trespassing, $100 fine, signs, and providing for penalties for the violation thereof. Could someone move for me? I'll move for you. Moved by Councilman Jones for administration.
All right, Section L, resolutions. Number 21, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and CB&I, formerly known as Shaw Environmental and Infrastructure, Inc., for additional services, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Number 22, resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion as to whether the administration can adjust salaries of Lafourche Parish government elected or appointed officials or unclassified positions which have been previously approved by the Lafourche Parish Council through the annual budget without Lafourche Parish Council approval. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Ms. Sposito. Mr. Jones, you have something?
I got amendment to that.
Okay.
Also asked the DA to revisit the calculation on the numbers, on where they got it from, and also define the year, the year of previous year. What they mean when they.
Okay, has it been written down for Ms. Carleen? Okay.
Involving the calculation of the previous year.
Okay. So you moving on the amendment? Can we get a second? Mrs. Sposito seconds the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? Being none, we'll vote on the amendment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Now we vote on the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Already took care of number 23. Number 24, resolution approving the bids for miscellaneous materials for the time period of July 1st, 2017 through July 31st, 2018, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam. Second by. Is there still question on us, the procedural? Second by Mr. Lorraine. Is there any discussion on this, Mr. LaFont?
Yeah, I got a discussion. Last year when this came up and we voted for the same thing, I asked the administration, we had the same issue with one of the vendors. For wire and rope and stuff like that, we went to one vendor's Hercules. I asked them last year to reach out to other people. It didn't happen. I noticed it again this year. I'm asking that we defer this, or if we can amend it to exclude that. I don't know what we have to do. I think all the rest of them are fine. Some of them don't have enough bids, but on that particular one, I can tell you, I just today when I was reading it, I went over and I called one local company in Lafourche Parish, and I said, okay, if I'm walking in your store and I want to purchase the same project or the same material, can you give me a price of what over the counter was? And I had some discrepancy of $4 or $5 a foot. where we could have saved money. However, I asked him, I said, right now, if I was a business coming in or a government and asking for the same product, he said, well, you get additional discount. So I just think we need to look at, trying to get Lafourche Parish companies to bid. I know we put it on the website, but I think we need to reach out to people and ask them to, if we know we can save money, at least call the local business, the ones in the parish.
I'm all about helping local. Mr. O-Town.
First, I'd like to defer, let James address this if you don't mind.
James?
If we could amend this to take the wire rope out, I'd appreciate it. We could move forward with this. It's gonna put the parish in a bad, position, like diesel fuel, $30,000. If we don't, pass this right here, when I spend $30,000, we're gonna shut the parish down. That's pump stations and everything.
I'll amend it to remove that one section.
Yes.
Did you write it?
I can,
I'd really appreciate that.
no problem.
So, Cora, can I speak?
Go.
Yeah, so what happened is, so my fear is, once again, it was properly, I mean, maybe it wasn't properly in the eyes of some people, but it was advertised. So legally, we followed what we were supposed to do, and I hear loud and clear what Jerry's saying, is that we should be maybe negotiating a little more with some of these vendors. My dilemma in delaying it is, we delayed the spraying of weeds, and I've got people complaining because we have lilies growing like they've never seen before in some of the outfall canals. So I certainly don't want to do that again. Additionally is, I'm often, as recently as last night, explaining to people that as legislature, being council members, that we basically have no authority to execute DPW's functions, projects, which I'm sure a lot of y'all do too also. So I don't want to get, I wish I could. I love to have been able to be in the police jury days to be able to take some action on some of these items that they call me on. We can't. This is one item that I don't want them to be able to say, wait, you did hinder DPW. So anyway, that's my comment.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
LaFont, I don't think we can amend that contract. We can't amend that contract.
Y'all think I can bend it? I'm gonna vote no, and I can't support it.
We can't amend it. It's up to the administration to send an amendment to the
That's fine.
contract.
Go ahead. I vote no.
You want to defer it, Mr. O-Town?
I do not want to defer. It's time dated. It's time dated. Jerry, question, Jerry, though, I mean, if the administration saw, they're not obligated to purchase these items at those costs, are you?
That'll be his discretion, right?
That'd be at our discretion.
So, I say let's leave that discretion to James and not delay this. And, it's only for a 1-year agreement, and it is at James's discretion.
And it's 2 years this year now, because last year they let it go into 2 years this year. James, I'm just gonna ask in the future, and I'm gonna say it again, I said it last time. We got 3 wire and rope companies in Lafourche Parish that have businesses in Lafourche Parish, and neither one of these were I can't say they weren't contacted. I know the one I called wasn't. And if we just think that we're gonna put bids on our webpage and people are gonna come to our webpage every day and see what's up for bid, I think we're not doing a justice to our residents of Lafourche Parish and the taxpayers. I think we as a government should be looking for better prices. I deal with it every day. I'm in sales, and I know when people come to buy a vehicle from me, they already done their research. They contacted several different places, and I think we ought to be doing the same.
I agree. I agree with you.
Okay, so we'll move this thing to a vote. Item number 24. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Passes 7-0-1-1. Number 25, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the contract between Lafourche Parish Government and Hunt, Guillotte and Associates, LLC for the administrative management services for the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Disaster Recovery Program through the Parish Implemented Recovery Program funded by the Louisiana Recovery Authority, LRA, related to Hurricanes Gustav and Ike on behalf of the Lafourche Parish Government and authorizing Parish President to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by? Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? Mr. Oldham.
Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to make an inquiry, but I see they wanted, that this is taking $75,000 out of the Lockport Community and Recreation Center CBDG funding, and I guess I'm wondering why that is as well. It's a project right around the corner. Anybody?
Mr. Bourgeois, you have an answer on that?
Actually, that was the question I don't have, but I've got the lady from Hunt Giat to.
Name and address for the record, please.
Marjorie Torres, and the address is 9357 Interline Avenue in Baton Rouge. The 75,000, that's where we're not taking any project funds. This is all grant money. This was some of the remaining funds, and it's really, there's delays across all the projects. That's what the 75 is. Our original contract was from 2009. So it's not taking any money away from the project. If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, actually, I'm confused now. So this is, so you're representing whom exactly? So,
HGA.
which is to do what? Something with the community center in Lockport?
Right. What we handle, what we're doing is making sure that all the projects, the infrastructure projects that we have from Gustav Ike, are following HUD guidelines. That's our job.
Okay, so if we didn't approve this transfer of 75,000, what happens?
Well, I mean, we're in a bind. These projects have dragged on for so long, changed locations, and so we've had to redo a lot of work. So that's why we're asking for additional funds.
Yeah, I guess I'm confused.
There's 4 projects. Look, I read through it. Y'all had, there's like 4 projects that are going way beyond, several projects that went way beyond the time.
Right.
That y'all been managing the funds for it, and it's gone beyond y'all scope, and y'all, am I correct? I read a lot into it today.
That's correct. It's not just Lockport, it's all of our projects.
Right.
But to save on a lot of paperwork, as far as the work order goes, we're just putting it in this one project.
Pulling it out of the one project, because it specifically says it's coming out of the Lockport project, not the 4 projects that Jerry's referring to.
Yeah, we had,
It's multiple projects.
Right, we had 15 infrastructure projects. I mean, and there's about 4 or 5 of them that are still going on. And our contract was from 2009. So it's not just, we have to put the money somewhere. So it's really delays across the board, across all these projects, but just to save a lot of paperwork, we're putting it in this one project.
That's the project that needs the most money.
Right, right.
I mean, yeah, I know Jack's still here. Can you shed any light on this, Jack, if you would be so kind?
Jack Plaisance, 115 Picciola Parkway. We're the project managers. Marjorie with Hunt Gio are doing the project delivery. So we deal with the engineers, they deal with the grant applications and the guidelines. What I would say, I would agree with everything Marjorie said, and I would go on to say that we have also experienced delays with scope changes, extended timelines for any number of reasons, and we had an application amendment come before council about a month ago for the same reason, justification, and that was voted in agreement for the same reason that Hunt Gio and Associates are coming to the table today. So we work separately for the administration on these projects. We work together. I would certainly recommend that the council approve their amendment.
Thank you. And so I'm a little clearer, and although the work you're doing is specifically to the community center, my understanding that this is not necessarily, unless I'm incorrect on that, so the 75,000 specifically says it's coming from Lockport Community and Recreation Center CDBG funding. However, your scope of work is not necessarily only limited to that particular project. Is that correct?
That's true.
So I guess I'm still at a little loss of why it wouldn't be percentage-wise, or is that just too difficult to do? Or I guess what I don't want to do is give up a penny on a project that's been going on for several years. We're getting close to it, and I don't want to run out of funding, if you follow me.
I absolutely follow you, and that's a concern that we all share moving these things along. We want to ensure that our client has appropriate funding to complete these projects. I feel confident that we are okay on the funding for this project.
Okay, if you don't, oh, Tommy left?
Well, yeah.
I was just gonna ask somebody from the administration, but there's nobody from the administration here.
I want to commend
What-
Mr.
why-
Barnes for still being here. Thank you.
No, I just want to know if there was any possibility of this being spread loaded over the remaining projects. You know, if that was an option or not.
Well,
I guess I can't get
I
that
think
answer.
what Marjorie was explaining is that there were 12 or 13 projects in the program, and it goes back to 2010, 2011, the older ones like Dugas Canal, and this is the easiest way to compensate your client, your consultant, without having to do amendments for each particular project. It is reflective of the scope of work and the additional services that they provided, as was ours several weeks ago, which you looked favorably upon.
I would ask any of the older councilmen, what's your feelings on this, and have you seen something like this in the past where it just comes off of one project? I mean, I got a funny feeling about this.
Yeah.
Mr. Jones.
You see a lot of strange things in this administration.
What it does, things don't come overnight, gentlemen. Y'all gonna finally realize that one day. Some of the projects might be done after y'all are gone.
All right, we're good? LaFont, your light's still on?
I just want to make one quick announcement. I think it's a crying shame, and I want the records to mark that Mr. Parish President, or so-called Parish President, walked out this meeting at 6:46. I called somebody to go check. He's at his house. I would love to be at home watching this LSU game. But you know what? I got an obligation to the taxpayers and the people of Lafourche Parish while he's sitting at his house. And you look over there. Look. One man standing that has nothing to do with none of these projects we have questions for. But he took $45,000 worth of checks. I'm to the point right now that I'm going to vote no on everything, because we can't get nothing answered.
Smile, James.
It's a crying shame. He's sitting at home, because I had somebody go ride by his house and look. His parish truck is parked at his house at Cantrell Drive, or whatever they call it, at his house. It's a crying shame. And I hope the public realizes what they done when they elected him.
Mr. Orman, you got something?
Yeah, I want to thank Jack, and I certainly, been dealing with Jack for a long time, and I appreciate his comments and their wise comments. Is there any issue if we were to defer this for one meeting, or is that going to be a problem? I don't want to slow anything down. I don't want to stop anything. Would that be problematic, or can you say? I would sure appreciate it, just to be able to meet with the administration if it doesn't cause a problem. I mean, we're only talking about 2 weeks.
I'm not submitting their invoices, so I can't really say that. And I know Marjorie, it's been, these projects have extended for a long time, and that's why we consultants are looking to be compensated for the work that we've done. That's, I think, what it boils down to.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm going to be in favor of it. Thank you, Jack.
Mr. Bourgeois?
Yeah, I was just gonna explain that the only thing I know is that the bulk of it is in the community center, but the other ones are the other projects. It just was cost so much more money if we were to 3,000 here, 5,000 here.
All right, we'll move this thing to vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0-1. 7-0-1-1.
I want to thank her for being present.
7-1-1. 1. Mr. Nooney. 7-1. No, who was the nay? Okay, yeah. All right, number 26, resolution requesting approval for Lafourche Parish Head Start to submit a grant application in the amount of $33,185, $26,548 for federal and $6,637 for non-federal requirements for the purpose of a cost of living adjustment for all Lafourche Parish Head Start staff, and authorizing the parish president to sign, parish president and council chairman to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. You got the pen? Just 1 second.
Do you have the parish president's signature?
Go to his house. He's watching the game.
Just that one place you have them sticking?
On two
Two
packets.
places?
Today's my wife's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday to your wife.
All right, number 27, resolution approving the purchase of one 2017 Ram 2500 Crew Cab 4x4 truck in the amount of $25,985.53 for the Department of Public Works and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam, second by Mr. Bourgeois. That's why you stayed. You waiting to see if this new truck goes through. Any discussion? Mr. Otam.
Yeah, I would just respectfully request that y'all support this. As y'all know, there's not enough vehicles that are in our fleet as we speak, and the field guys, the field supervisors need what they have, and we can't have James taking it, and so I really like for him to keep his access, and we need to empower him. Thank you, James.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. All right, number 28, resolution accepting a low quote of state machinery in the amount of $22,500 for the purchase of one Model 2 motorized sandbagger and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam, second by Mr. Bourgeois. I have a question on this. Where's this sandbagger going to be situated?
It's portable. We can move it from field office to field office. Right now, we only have 3 parish-wide,
So there's none in Raceland, right?
none in Raceland.
So the new one will go with the Raceland site?
We can put it in Raceland.
All right, thank you.
Actually, I need 3, but we'll settle for
Mr.
one
Arm.
right now.
No, I mean, irregardless of where the bags get filled at, they load them on, and they bring them all over the parish from one
Roger that.
location, so, and correct me if I'm wrong in that, but I mean, we had one business that took like 3,000, so, and I do want to comment on the sandbagger that we certainly appreciate the efforts of the Barnes, and I know those guys were out there at times when I passed 7, 8 o'clock at night, they were still filling sandbags, so thank y'all for everything you do, and always remember, James, that you can always utilize your local volunteer fire departments to come and assist y'all with sandbags at any time. It's something we've historically done and certainly are more than welcome to do.
One more thing.
Thank you.
Don't
Mr.
forget
Lorraine.
the sheriff with the prisoners. They
That's
were
right.
out there also.
We use them, yes.
All right, move it to vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. 29, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Jake's Kids LLC, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Jake's Kids LLC for school uniforms and/or post-secondary school work uniforms, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 30, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Clinic Drugstore, Inc., whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Clinic Drugstore, Inc. for medicine and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. You have a question?
Yeah, I just want to know what kind of medicine they're dispersing, but I don't think anybody's here to answer.
With the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's through community action, but what do they disperse? What type of medication do they disperse? Is it for anything that they go to
Any
the
kind of
doctor for?
medication if people in need. It's not a specific medicine. It's,
We're not giving out Plan B, whatever, day after pill or whatever,
no,
abortion pill,
no,
or nothing like that.
no, it's medication, high blood pressure, diabetic.
For low-income,
Yeah,
needy people.
Right.
Okay.
As long as we don't use it on the abortion pill, I'll support it, but if I find out, I'll come back.
No, definitely, we don't have that much money in the fund to use it on that.
All right.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 31, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Council Office of Community Action and Learning Bridge Career Institute for the purpose of providing tuition assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all associated documents and amendments. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion? Yes.
On that too, Mr. Jones, can you answer that Learning Career Center? I saw it's in Terrebonne Parish. Do we not have nothing we can give scholarship to in Lafourche for that?
Well, we could go to, it's Nickel State, Fletcher, Blue
And here it
Cross.
says the Learning Center in Terrebonne.
It has a learning center in Terrebonne, but you gotta do cooperative effort with each individual place you do, business with.
All right, thank you.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 32, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, and the Accelerated Dental Assisting Academy for the purpose of providing tuition assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all associated documents and amendments. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Esposito. Mr. Lafont.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 33, resolution approving a government product lease agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Maine Finance, a Neopost USA company, for a postage meter at the Thibodeau Government Complex and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by? No second? Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion?
I would have one for the administration but they're not here to answer again. So I'm not gonna support it because I saw it's from a company out of state. I don't know if there's people locally that can do it, but I'm not gonna support it because.
I'm in agreement with you. If they can't answer questions for something like this, I can't support it either. Move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Fails. 1-7-1. All right, number 34, resolution approving a master service agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Environmental Science Services, ES Squared, for as-needed GIS consulting, training, and field data collection services, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Mr. Lafont.
Once again, I had questions for this. Nobody here to answer. Ms. Posito, you know anything about it?
I do, but Jeffrey will do a better job than I can.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeffrey, name and address, please.
Jeffrey Loomer, 4875 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana. Basically, we installed the GIS server, which is the Geographical Information System. We installed the server backside of it a few months ago, and we put it out to bid. And the company that installed it all, we just want to get them into a master service agreement so if I can't accomplish some things with the GIS system, that we can just call them up on an as-need service as it goes. So they have the price list and all that kind of stuff in the back. Probably won't be using them a lot, but just in case of an emergency or whatnot, we can get a hold of them and get some services done for small things.
Something you're gonna need in case you need help?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 35, resolution approving.
Need to defer that, it's tied to item 10,
Okay.
so we need to put it on.
So defer number 35. Number 36, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with D&M Pharmacy whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse D&M Pharmacy for medicine and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion? Mr. Lafont. Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 37, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and David A. Waits Engineering and Surveying, Inc. for engineering services for the project entitled Priority List 1, 2016 Road Improvements to Romy Drive, Bayou Lours Drive, and Bayou Onion Lane and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents moved by Mr. Otam and Mrs. Esposito. So, moved by Mr. Otam and Mrs. Esposito. Anybody, do we still need a second? Second by Mr. Melvin. Any discussion?
Yeah, why this is not coming out of road sales tax, eh?
Yeah, that's a question for the administration.
The administration?
Yeah.
If he's here, y'all don't want him here, and if he leaves, y'all want him here. Y'all need to make up
Man,
your
y'all, you grouping us all as one. We're all individuals here representing our constituents.
Oh, go ahead and represent your constituents. Do what you gotta do.
We do.
I know you do.
Mr. LaFont, what you got?
I just, I want to just reiterate what you say. We can't answer questions. That was administration for him. And we never said we didn't want him here, because when he's here, he don't answer questions anyway.
I don't think the people's blind.
Mr. Chairman.
No, they see and trust me.
I'm not sad that my buddy left. What, Ms. Esposito, go ahead.
I know Bayou Onion, Bayou Lafourche, they're both in my district. They're way overdue with getting overlaid. I know James can have some insight on this because
I'm just asking.
Mr.
I
James
have
with
the
the
floor, sir.
administration?
Yes, he's been who I've been working with on it.
Okay, you have something?
Yes. We're elected to go with the transportation fund on these two little street projects. That fund can be used for small overlay projects. And, road sales tax A was set up for Abbey Road. Again, we was budgeted, had a small budget for each one. So we kind of split it up.
Okay. Satisfies everyone's curiosity.
So what kind of funds you have for Abbey Road? I mean, is road sales tax A still has life? Do they have money or they don't have money or?
Yes, sir. They have money. They got a little over $1 million in there, and Abbey Road is right around $1 million.
That's for engineering or construction?
No, that's for engineering and construction. 900.
So no other roads better break?
Sir?
No other roads better break in that area?
I'm just saying that's all the money we got.
Okay.
All
Now you
right,
see
move it to
why.
a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Moving right along, number 38, resolution approving
Chairman, I'd like to
amendment.
pull number 38.
Pull number
Yeah,
38.
Michael Grove, would like to pull it.
Number 39, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Raceland's Pharmacy Express whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community, you pulling 39? Pull. Number 40, resolution approving Lafourche Parish Council Office of Community Action to serve as a host agency to the Senior Community Service Employment Program, SCSEP, funded through St. James Parish Area Agency on Aging, operated under Title V of the Older Americans Act to provide safe and healthful work sites for our participants. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Esposito. You thirded it? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 41, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Nicholls State University Bookstore, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Nicholls State University Bookstore for school books and supplies, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 42, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Drainage District Number 5 and Lafourche Parish Government to provide funding towards the purchase of one John Deere 6110M cab tractor and one John Deere MX8 semi-mount hydraulic offset rotary cutter and one Tiger Model SMR EDBT four-side rotary extreme high mount mower for use by the Department of Public Works, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and enter all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
I got a question.
You have a go ahead.
Yes. James, maybe you can answer. I see it's for a total are they giving us $58,772, $73?
Yes.
What is
That's correct.
What is the total cost of that equipment?
Just a minute, Marie's getting it for you. It's gonna be for the tractor and the side mower. And that'll be going to the, check bay barn.
It just says what they're giving, it don't say what we putting into it.
Name and address for
What
the
was it?
record. Name and address.
Marie Bluann, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews.
It's showing $58,773.22. Is that the total cost for that?
No, the total cost is double that. It's $117,000, and the Drainage District number 5 is agreeing to pay half
And where's the funds coming from the parish?
on Department of Public Works equipment that was set up in the 2017 budget.
All right, it just seems that all the equipment from Lockport on south comes from the, most of the equipment's been purchased lately, it's been 100%. Most of it's been donated or given.
No, we had quite a bit that came out of the
I thought they were
DPW
done. Okay.
equipment
That's fine.
fund this year.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Moving to a vote, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 43, resolution approving the low quote of Golden Ranch Aviation, Inc. for annual aerial spraying and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Mr. Lafont? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. Number 44, resolution approving an agreement with the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office to provide food service for the Lafourche Parish Head Start sites at Bayou Blue, Marydale, Martin Luther King, Raceland, and Thibodeau 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 801. What's the, section M? So just read it? Okay, so, section M, notice of public meeting, Mr. Bourgeois.
Notice is hereby given, notice of public meeting. Notice is hereby given that at its meeting to be held on Tuesday, August 8th, 2017 at 5 p.m. at the Matthews Government Complex, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, plans consider adopting an ordinance ordering and calling elections to be held within the Parish of Lafourche and Road District 1 of the Parish of Lafourche to authorize the renewal of ad valorem taxes.
Okay. Section N, questions for the administration. Mr. Otan.
I just want to make a comment to the administration. I know item number 38, resolution was pulled tonight, which was a consolidation of CBDG funds, which we pulled 75 grand out of Lockport Community, and this was going towards that. I think it's a consolidation. So I just want to, I know the administration's not here, but I just want to let them know that I will gladly sponsor that resolution at the next meeting, if Mr. Groh can't make it again.
All right, Section O, council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions, session 2. Being none.
Wait.
Go ahead, Ms. Sposio.
I know you all got this probably in your mail. It's the South Central Planning and Development ribbon cutting ceremony. That's June 29th, but that's not my point for bringing this up. I'm the liaison, the council liaison for this MPO board that meets quarterly. The next meeting is July 27th. At these board meetings, they provide lunch and I'm talking July 27th is the next board meeting. The 29th is this ribbon cutting. I'm talking about the board meeting for for South Central Planning MPO.
Oh, MPO.
Yeah. So every meeting, there's representatives from DOT there. So everyone from Chris Movon, our district supervisor, to our local Gary Gisclair. So I get a lot of questions answered. If you ever want to go to that attend that meeting, I think it's worthwhile.
All right, thank you. And that was under Section O, council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions. Section P, discussion. Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I just had one more report. So at the last meeting, I hooped and hollered again about the Lockport boat launch, which has been on the water for, since the beginning of the new year. As y'all recall, it was kind of my basis for agreeing to the La Rose launch. Anyway, I do want to report to y'all that the next morning at 9 o'clock, I was crossing the bridge in Lockport to go and take my pictures I take every other day of how the boat launch is in such bad repair. And lo and behold, the trustees were there weed eating, cleaning up, so that was nice. And about 15 minutes after that, I got a phone call from the parish president, asked me to meet him there. So the last meeting did amount to something, and there is talk at the next Lafourche Game and Fish Commission. I asked Mr. Jimmy once again if we can please get public input on what's the best things for our community. He agreed. So at the next Game and Fish Commission meeting with the people that use that boat launch, we're going to discuss what improvements are needed there, which they're pretty wide because it's such a utilized boat launch. 2 weeks ago, just for everyone to know, there was over 100 vehicles that utilized that. They were parked all the way around about a mile down where the playhouse is at. So when I tell you it's an overutilized boat launch, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was also CJ's jug line tournament day. All right.
Wait, and I want to let you know, I beat him by one place in that tournament.
Did you really?
Yes.
He was eighth out of 53. I was ninth out of 53. But he also fished with a guy that competes on a regular basis.
I got you. All right, can we get a motion to adjourn? Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Melvin, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned at 8:08 p.m. Go Tigers.